Hello, welcome class to Weeb History 101. That's right, this is a class where you're going to learn about history through the eyes of anime. Now, I know last week we talked about World War II with ship girls again, but this time I think we have a great endeavor. No, there's no time traveling. No, there's no lollies here. Can I please talk about the syllabus first for today? Alright, so just remember the 3 rules of class is that language and situations that are not suitable for all students may be present, and if you're afraid of that, you can leave the lecture now. Second is that any and all spoilers up to Kochoki episode 8, as well as any other anime of historical prominence, may come up. And third is that, remember, in our discussion portion of the class, that the opinions reflect the individual and not all of Dub Talk as a whole. Now tonight, it's time to talk about the man, the myth, the legend. No, shut the fuck up. We are not talking about Goku. Not this time, anyway. No, we are also not talking about Char on a Blaze. Don't have the money for that. No, guys, we're going to delve back into history. Get out your swords. No, not the sword boys, unfortunately. Let's talk about Oda Nobunaga. Hello, one and all, and welcome to Dub Talk, the show where a group of Sengoku warlords get together and talk about our latest conquests. Tonight, I am your supreme leader, Shogun Megan. I have to my left my retainer, Lilac.
Oh god, it's the supreme leader. God, what am I gonna do with her? Ugh.
I have my retainer, Jet.
Hello.
And of course, I have my favorite concubine, Roots of Justice.
God damn it! Why? God damn it! Did not expect that to
my connection cut out. All I heard was the end of the greatest Ojo-sama laugh. Did you Ojo-sama laugh?
I Ojo-sama laugh.
He did. He totally fucking did.
I love you. I love you. Apparently on a Discord now, I go by Ojo-sama. So, okay.
Why?
Yeah, somebody calls me the Ojos. I'm the Ojo-sama of the idols.
Oh, Jesus.
So tonight first, before we start talking about what we're talking about, we have to talk about my favorite donors to the Dub Talk Empire. We have our $5 Patrons, Crimson Echidna, Michelle Trappist.
Nico Robin, but with yaoi hands.
I gotta do it. I can do it.
You can do it. Come
Nico,
on, let's go. Come on, then. Let's do it.
My other favorite concubine, Nico Robin, but with yaoi hands.
There it is.
And our $10 donors, Jacob Wilson, Carly Lesticow, Marissa Lenti, Brad Mitchell, Wee B, and Jared. Now, if you couldn't guess by all of our talk about Sengoku warlords, conquerings, and concubines, we are here to talk about Japan's favorite subject, Oda Nobunaga. This time, not with guns, not with Young Bride, not the Fool, just Nobunaga. That's right, we are here to talk about the 2019 summer anime, dubbed by Funimation, animated by, please tell me this is Gonzo.
I think it's Dean.
This is Gonzo.
I think it's Genko.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think it's Genko.
Yeah, I think it's Genko.
Yeah, one sec. I can pull that.
Keep.
I'm like
99.9%.
Da 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 da.
It's not Dean.
It's not. Keep going, and I'll find it for you.
It's too nice to be a Dean show.
It is too nice to be a Dean show.
The 2019 summer anime dubbed by Funimation, directed by. Oh God, fuck me! I had this in my brain. Noriyuki Abe. You know, the guy who did Yu Yu Hakusho, Bleach, and of course everyone's favorite horror anime, Ghost Stories.
So,
yes, it is Studio Dean. Fuck you, fight
Roots
me.
Is right. It is Studio.
It is Studio Dean.
Oh, okay.
Yup, I'm staring.
That's right. We're here to talk about That's right. We're here to talk about Kochoki, otherwise known as Kochoki, Wakai Nobunaga. That's right, somebody else is joining the tradition, that's the tradition of other people playing Oda Nobunaga at Funimation this year.
At least, though, this is legit an Oda Nobunaga show about Oda Nobunaga, though.
That's kind of very straightforward. Like, there's no gimmicks, guys. Like, he's not, like... It's not like his bride coming back to, like... Fucking come back and screw with people.
There's no magical bullshit.
Bullshit. Nothing. He's joining an illustrious career. This person who played Oda Nobunaga against, like the likes of Robert McCollum, Kent Williams, and Jade Saxton.
Yep.
It counts. It totally counts. I looked it up. She's got Nobunaga's genes in her in that show.
Oh, boy.
Alright.
Roots, it's not that bad.
God, fuck you.
Twisted. Stop it.
Fuck you. Not like that. Not like that.
Wait.
Bad.
Nobunaga.
Yes.
Good old
Yes.
Respect for the dead man.
God damn it. Anyway.
Now you are buried in the room.
Anyway, to give... I'm gonna throw you in jail.
God damn it.
I'm gonna throw you both in jail.
There is no way to get out.
God.
Just, can I please read a plot summary?
Wifey, can I be your new concubine since your actual one isn't cooperating?
Good, because our two actual husbands don't deserve any puss.
Yay!
Jet's just like Jet's just here like right in front of my salad.
Like not in front of my salad.
Jet is the straight man to all of us, and I feel really bad sometimes. I've tackled him over Hitalia before. I love you, Jet. You are the most patient motherfucker.
Very bold of you to assume about the straight man.
God damn it! Oh my god.
Good night, everybody. We're no longer talking about Nobunaga. We're gonna go home. Alright, guys, the time machine is open. We are going back home before we step on a butterfly and fuck up Japanese history.
Oh god.
No, so if I could seriously read a plot summary, before he was the great warlord Oda Nobunaga, he was Kiposhi, a young teenager trying to figure out what kind of man he wants to be. Despite his mother's antagonism, Kiposhi befriends a group of local peasants and they work together to skim foreign goods from arriving shipments, enabling orphans to eat. When his younger brother, Kanjuro discovers some goods he's kept for himself, Kiposhi tries to swear him to secrecy, but no avail. And even with his older brother Nobuhiro's inventors, Kiposhi and friends get in trouble with his dad. But this is the boy who will eventually grow up to become one of Japan's most famous warlords. If he can't outsmart his family to keep him and his friends alive, how can he ever conquer Japan? That's like just be summed up as local dork Oda Nobunaga just tries not to fuck up.
Pretty much.
Tries not to fuck up. Fucks up anyway.
Ah, damn it. Now I'm gonna become the Sengoku era conqueror. So tonight we will be talking about the first 8 episodes of Kochoki. Mostly because we only had the cast list up to episode 7, but even then most of the cast that we had to talk about was like done by episode 5. However, it was in the middle of an arc and I would have felt really bad not getting to the end of that.
Yep.
It's alright.
Because holy shit, what an arc.
Yeah, that's just like shit you end a show with, not shit you midpoint your show with. So this will be an Impressions episode. Unfortunately, we kind of decided to do Kochoki at the last minute after the cast had been announced and a lot of us knew who it was. So we don't have any predictions, which is going to make this go by a lot faster. So, let's get started with our direct...
a lot faster too.
Shut up.
It's not wrong.
I can only describe that if me and Steph just start yelling shut up at each other, we're like 2 lynxes screaming at each other in the woods.
That is pretty accurate. Sounds about right.
Sounds about white. Anyway, so let's start about our directors and writer. Our main director of the series is one Mr. Jerry Jewell, who is being assisted by Afia Yu, And our writer is Clayton Browning. Jerry Jewell has directed such series as A Certain Scientific Accelerator and all members of the Index Railgun, and whatever the fuck that family is called, Space Battleship Yamato 2199 and 2202, and Seraph of the End. Afia Yu has directed series such as Classroom of the Elite, The Quintessential Quintuplets, and Assassination Classroom Season 2. Clayton Browning has written for series such as Fairy Gone, SSSS Gridman, and Boogie Pop, and others. So tonight our order is going to be Roots, Lilac, Jet, then myself. So Roots, go ahead.
Yeah, so honestly, this is kind of a weird show where I did think
I forced everybody to do this.
What's that?
Where I forced everybody on this episode.
Oh, well, I mean, that...
Sounds about right. I don't know if you forced it. Well, you didn't force Roots.
No, I had
Roots.
I had already watched episode 1, because I watched, like, episode 1 of everything. I'm like, okay, this is cool. But,
yeah, it was
okay.
pretty much the same with me.
But,
I'm just here.
I'm just here for the free punch.
Steph's here so she won't get fined.
What do you mean that it won't get fined?
I'm just here so I won't get fined.
It's a reference to
Munch,
something
munch,
that you won't
munch
understand.
on Skittles.
What the fuck?
Because the whole thing...
My boyfriend gets it. We'll explain to you when you're older.
Yeah, we'll tell you
Thanks.
later.
We'll explain to you when you get
Mom.
older.
You all get
Thanks,
it
Mom.
out there. Anyway.
Thanks, Mom.
So this show is kind of a weird case where I thought the scripts were kind of stilted, but that actually made sense given the context that we're dealing with people who are, like, mainly nobles. So, of course, they're gonna have, like, a big pompous air to them whenever they talk. So, I didn't actually have a problem with the fact that the dialogue sounded stilted this time. And actually, a few of the characters that we'll be getting into a little later in the episode, I think at least one of them, they actually kind of speak a little bit freer, as if they were commoners, which I thought that dichotomy between the sort of the stuffier characters and the more outspoken characters who had a commoner background, I thought that was really cool. Casting was actually really good, and if ANN is to be believed, there is somebody I have not actually seen in a Funimation simuldub in this before, which is really cool. So yeah, direction-wise, there were some really great performances that we'll be, getting around to over the course of the episode, and any of the ones that I thought really particularly stood out, I will probably get into in final thoughts. So, in terms of direction and script writing, great all around.
Neato. I'm going to keep this very simplistic. I don't have a lot of notes for the directing and writing of the show. Bear in mind, I have been sick for the past few days. I'm getting over whatever freaking cold or disease I have going on. It's great.
Disease.
So, sucks so bad. Ick. But in terms of, I'll start with the writing on this one. The writing is a very interesting one. Since this is a historical piece or historical fiction, as far as we know of, you kind of can't take a lot of liberties with the script. And it's interesting that Roots described it as kind of stilted. I didn't actually think of it that way. But with the kind of context for the historical fiction and all this, in terms of like how they speak, how they address themselves, things like that, they did use formal Japanese terms or pronouns for them. Like you have Nobunaga-sama or Dono and things like that, which actually I think add a little bit more of an emphasis to the time period, which I think really works very well, because it's very, very, very rare that choice, both on a writing and a directorial front, is made to use those not pronouns and surnames, whatever the heck you want to call it. And I think it actually works very well, giving a bit of a more emphasis to these characters who are, majority of them are of a noble background. So I do enjoy the script. It's a lot of fun, and it does also convey a very interesting portrayal of Nobunaga. Because Nobunaga, for the majority of the series, is a goober. He's an adorable little goober, compared to what his history has us to believe, anyway.
Or every other anime he's ever been depicted in.
I'm not counting any of those right now.
I mean, no, he was kind of portrayed as a goofball in Nobunaga the Fool, but Nobunaga the Fool also wasn't very good. So
Nobunaga the Fool also had mechs for some fucking reason. So
Nobunaga the Fool was just an excuse for Nobunaga to ride a giant robot. Let's be real.
It really is. Let's
it's
be
Shoji
real.
Kawamori. He finds excuses to put just about anybody in a giant robot.
Because fuck you, that's why. Because giant robots
You
want to
see Oda Nobunaga ride a giant robot because you only want good things for Oda Nobunaga, and frankly, who doesn't?
Oh shit!
I'd ship Nobunaga in a giant robot.
I ship it FedEx. Anyway,
Coming next anime season, the young Oda Nobunaga's young robot bride.
oh my god.
The ghost of Oda Nobunaga is gonna fucking smite us, guys.
I mean, if he didn't come and smite every other person worked on a Nobunaga adaptation. I mean, God.
I mean, nothing
Japan,
could be
let's
worse
go.
than an anime that aired last. Okay, there's literally an anime last season that involved a underage girl hitting on a 27-year-old teacher because he had the genes of Oda Nobunaga. So
Yeah, that was a thing.
anyway, Stephanie, go ahead. I'm so sorry.
Yep. Anyway, in terms of the directing, I really love the directing on this show. The casting is a lot of fun. Here's the thing. I don't think I can say anymore that with casting like this nowadays, that these are newer actors or underutilized actors, because we're at this point where a lot of these actors in this new generation that are coming in, with the simuldub era too, that they've become very established in their own right, that you could basically call them veterans at this stage. So I don't want to call them new, underutilized or fairly new at this point. So I really do love the casting on this. It has some fantastic choices. It gives a few actors and actresses some major roles too. I know one in particular has a major role in this, and in the same season has his first leading role too, for a different show, and that's really awesome. And then our lead Nobunaga here, this is probably one of his maybe his second lead this year, if I'm right.
It's his fourth.
This is fourth.
Really? Because he had 2 last season. He's got this one this season.
He repeats one in the fall.
What?
He repeats one in the fall.
Yeah, I know he's repeating one in the fall. You keep
what was the
talking,
other one
I will
last
count.
season? Okay. But, I really love the directing choices, and Jerry Jewell is always a fun director, because he seems always so passionate about the different projects he takes on, and he has just such a fun time. But I'm very sad. He didn't accidentally cast himself somewhere in a role that he'll stick around. I'm sad about that.
4 more episodes.
I know, but still. Because he did that a few times before, and I'm very sad he hasn't done that yet. Where are you, Jerry?
Yes, he did do 4.
He did?
I'm counting one of them, that you're on the show, you're on that episode. I am counting his character as one of the main characters.
Oh, right. Yep, I know which one you're talking about. Haha. Happy birthday to you.
Yep, I'm counting that one.
Okay, that's why. That explains a few things. Wait, then that's 3. But yeah, Jerry's always a fun director because he seems always so passionate and he has just so much fun with the shows that he directs. And it's always a treat when you get to see Jerry come in as a director for a season and he gets to take on a show. Maybe 2, who knows. And I really like the choices that he did here with casting, especially with the 2 brothers in particular. Because those 2 are just a lot of fun. And then, it's an underrated dub, I think. It's one of those, it's a show, the show itself is going to go completely under everybody's radar. And I think because of that, the dub is going to, like, fly under the radar, too. This is definitely a fun dub that I've seen so far this season. And this coming from someone who's only really watched, like, 2 or 3 summer shows. But, this is definitely a show and a dub that I've been enjoying so far, and you should go watch it. I'm just saying it right now. Go watch it. It's underrated for sure. I'm done.
Jet.
Okay. So for me, so I've enjoyed a fair amount of dubs that Jerry Jules directed, but for me, he can sometimes just kind of range from like very impressive to just like very okay for me, kind of depending on how much he's on his A game. And as far as Kochoki goes, this one's kind of in the okay category for me. I like most of the performances. Most of them are fine, and no one here sounds like particularly off or poorly cast. But nothing in the vocal direction has really like super wowed me either. Save maybe like 1 or 2 really good scenes. And I actually like a lot of performances with the side characters a little bit more than the central cast, even if I don't have any like really big issues with them. But on the whole, it's like pretty solidly directed, I think. I'm a little bit more impressed with Clayton Braddock's work on the script, if mostly because he had to deal with the often difficult task of adapting a period piece, and like Steph was saying, I appreciate that he left in a lot of the Japanese honorifics. For most dubs,
that's it, honorifics. Thank you.
For most dubs, that sort of thing would kind of be a death sentence, but since we're dealing with a show that's about actual Japanese history, which is more surprising to say about an Oda Nobunaga thing than it probably should be. It makes sense to keep things consistent with the setting. And I also like how a lot of the prose kind of gets across that this is taking place in what is technically medieval times without getting like super over the top with it. Like, like have a whole bunch of people go over like these and thous or all that good stuff. And it also still manages to get in a couple of good quips every now and then that don't feel super out of place. And like one of the lines that for the retainers that got me that was kind of funny was like, "We're your aides, I want to save you," and kind of little stuff like that.
Wait, what was it?
It was something like, "We're your aides, I want to save you." Okay, yeah. So on the whole, I'd say this is a very serviceable dub, and while I wouldn't rate it about this season's heaviest hitters, I think Jerry and Clayton are doing a pretty good job of things so far. And it generally has endeared to me more and more the more I've gotten into the show. So, on the whole, I'd say it's a pretty smooth watch. I'm done.
I guess I'll go. Oh yeah, I guess I'll go. For me, I pretty much was just like, I watched episode 1 of the show and it was like immediately, we're doing a fucking episode on this. I absolutely adored this. And then I stopped watching it until we were about to record this, because that's what I do. So I think I'm more in the camp with Steph. Like, this is an absolutely underrated show this season. It's got a lot of drama. It's got a lot of action. It's not like, look, not everything is going to be Fruits Basket or Fire Force, which then again, even then the latter is kind of getting a little infuriating now with certain aspects of it.
It's not Dr. Stone. There we go.
Yeah. Or it's not Dr. Stone. We're like, good. Where everybody's like, go watch the nice big shiny shonen thing and stuff. But I do disagree about the dub. I actually think this is a really great dub. I agree with Steph that it's completely underrated. I think that the casting on this is fairly creative. I'm not gonna lie that I adore getting to see who plays one of these characters in a lot of things, because he genuinely impressed me last year with a lot of his work. He was just shy of some W's for me on certain things. I think that the writing is what really stood out to me. like Jet said, this really does balance the period piece aspect with... It balances being a period piece, but it also is able to... The show is fairly humorous at points. I think one of my favorite exchanges is on Nobunaga's wedding night between him and Tsunoki, where he's just like, she's gonna kill me, you need to watch me tonight. She's gonna poison me and kill me. And he's like, that's a really funny joke. No, dude, seriously, I need you to watch over me all night. And he goes, look, I am not watching you consummate your marriage. I'm no. And, like, and, like, the fact that it was, like, very much, like, it was a funny, humorous scene that mixed being funny and humorous with a lot of the delivery and the acting, but it worked well with Clayton Browning's writing to bring this through. And Clayton Browning, I believe this year, has worked on... I know Fairy Gone was the big one that he worked on. And that had to walk that line of being, like, way too... I'm assuming, because I watched one episode of Fairy Gone and then dropped it. And I don't know if I should get back to it or not.
Yeah, it's alright.
But this is a person... Clayton Browning has worked on some scripts this year that were, I would say, a little bit relatively more challenging, being this... Boogie Pop and Others, Fairy Gone, and then taking a look in there. He's also written another period. He also did 2 episodes of scripts for another period piece, which was Joker Game, which came out really well. So I think that having somebody who had worked on, especially something like Joker Game, where he knows how to write for a specific time period, really works, and it comes through here. And I think that writing, being able to walk that fine line, is a testament to what he's doing. I am a little surprised that it wasn't the crew that did give me 1 second, I need to pull up the show, but I want to get the names of the writers. I was actually super surprised that this script wasn't actually done by Jessica Kavanaugh, because she did do... Well, because she did Golden Kamuy. And that's another period piece that could walk that line between, from what I've seen, of keeping all of the terminology and stuff in place and also doing that. But overall, I think it's a really good effort from Jerry Offia and Clayton, though I think Clayton's work shines a little bit more than I would say Jerry's. Though I will say this, like, I think I'm a little bit more forgiving on Jerry Jewell's, like, maybe okay dubs compared to things, because I've been through where, like, Jerry's heart may have not been into something, or... And I don't want to accuse him of being a lazy director. I think the man is far from it, but I've sat through dubs that maybe he directed that weren't the best thing in the world. And this is to me, a very far pushback from that. This is a lot more solid than I think a lot of people would give credit for. So.
Yay.
Alright, so are we ready to move on to the first set of characters?
Yes, please.
Let's do it.
So cool, we're going to talk about some of Oda Nobunaga's family, specifically his older sister, his mother, and one of his younger brothers. So we have Ohana, who is his older sister. Ohana is basically kind of there right now to be Nobunaga's just big sister figure. She's kind of a confidant to his wife, Kicho, and the others, but she's hanging around, and frankly, I didn't know where to put her, and I wanted to talk about her. Then we have Gozen, who is his mother, who fucking hates him. Gozen no likey Nobunaga.
Mom is mad. Mom don't like him.
But she dotes on his other brothers, like good old Nobukatsu and oh boy. Then there's Hidetaka.
Oh god.
Hidetaka is a sweet, precious cinnamon roll of a child
who did nothing
wrong. Hidetaka did nothing wrong except for, like, bugs and be in his own world and kind of got murdered because Nobunaga needs to get taken down by the people who left him. And okay, I hate to do this, but like, I messaged Roots about Hidetaka's death, and I said this is some straight up like end of Mice and Men shit going on right now.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Now that you say that,
Hidetaka, because Hidetaka. Okay, like, look, if you don't plan on watching the show, essentially Hidetaka is going to go with a letter to Nobunaga that was written by Nobukatsu. Sorry, there's a lot of names. There's a lot of Nobus.
A lot of Nobas.
A lot of Nobu. But Hidetaka sees some fireflies that he had been waiting to see with Nobunaga's retainer, Tsunoki. And he wanders out into the hunting range and gets shot by their uncle. And then when I gotta keep scrolling up and down, there's too many Nobus! When Nobukatsu wants to take revenge on his uncle and he calls for Nobunaga to avenge him, Nobunaga doesn't go, and his death kind of starts spiraling the big fracture between the two brothers that was orchestrated by another character, and we will get to that character a little later.
I want to punt him into the sun!
We all do!
Fuck that guy.
Ohana is played by Caitlin Barr, Gozen is played by Anastasia Munoz, and Hidetaka is played by Madeline Morris. Caitlin Barr you'll know as Dominante Code in Black Clover. Miyako Tarumaru in Hanabato, and Melda Dietz in Space Battleship Yamato 2199. Anastasia Munoz you will know as Harumi Kiyama in the Railgun franchise, Quinn in Death Parade, and I am about to butcher this. Imano Tsurugi in Token Rambu Hanamaru, Madeline Morris you'll know as characters such as Azrael in Dances with the Dragons, Lynn Hughes in The Wiseman's Grandchild, and Maria Tosca in Seven Mortal Sins. Roots of Justice, go ahead.
Alright, guess I'll start with Ohana and Caitlin Barr. I didn't really see much of the character for most of the runtime of the 8 episodes we had, but I really liked that she was sort of that she liked to gossip with a lot of the staff of the household and other members of Nobunaga's family. And I like that by the point that we're at in the series, she has basically sort of become the information broker to Nobunaga, just of the family's inner politics and stuff. It's great, and I like how Caitlin Barr just plays her as this gossip who really wants to keep her brother safe and dispenses all of this information to him that would probably be important later, which, spoiler alert, does. But and God, Gozen and Anastasia Munoz. God, I love how slimy she played her. She clearly wants nothing to do with Nobunaga. As far as she's concerned, he may as well be dead to her. But then he starts gaining power, and she starts trying to curry favor with his brothers to try and usurp him. I love that power play dynamic throughout the course of the episodes that we have available to us. And I really should watch the rest of it sub, because I'm really curious to see how this goes, and I really don't want to wait.
Hold off! Be strong!
But in terms of the performance, I love how Anastasia Munoz sort of has the outer face of the outer mask of nobility, while secretly she's trying to stab her own son in the back. I think that was absolutely wonderfully done. And yeah, sorry, I lost my train of thought there. Madeline Morris as Hidetaka. I really... It's hard to describe my feelings for her performance, because I really appreciate that she played him with such enthusiasm, but Hidetaka is very clearly written in the show as an autistic character, and I'm glad that she didn't sort of do the... Oh, how do I word this? The, Saint Elsewhere approach, let's just say. Where it's just sort of the, oh, he stares at that snow globe all day. I wonder what's going on in his mind. Autism is sure a thing, isn't it? Like the whole thing with the series finale of Saint Elsewhere, the infamous...
Okay.
But yeah, that's one thing I really appreciate with this show, is that, like I said, Hidetaka is very clearly... It's not explicitly stated, because, let's face it, this probably... I would assume that the medical definition of autism was not discovered in the 16th century, let alone 16th century Japan, so...
But at the same time, it's at least very clear that there is something with him.
Yeah.
He's described as being off in his own world, and when you call to him and he's in there, he won't respond to you.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But in particular, I really appreciate the fact that Madeline Morris played this off as sort of... She played Hidetaka as a very enthusiastic character about insects. You talk to him about, like, a dragonfly larva, and he'll suddenly lighten up and just open entirely up to you. And I like her interactions with
Sonoshi?
Yeah, Tsunoki's actor, who we'll get to later on in the episode, but like I thought that was really beautiful, and I really like these three performances. Great job all around.
I don't have a lot of notes on these three characters, so I'm gonna make this very, very short. Caitlyn is a fun big sister type. She's great because she loves to just hassle Nobunaga all day long. It's great. She just poke fun at him. I love it. I want to see more, because she kind of came in a little late. She probably like after the halfway point from the 8 episodes that we watched. So it's a little late, and I do want to see more from her.
No, she shows up in like episode 2.
Yeah,
she does.
Yes,
she does. She showed up to like heckle him about getting married. So.
Oh, you right. My bad.
Yeah, and she shows up a couple other times, just chilling out with him.
Yeah. Okay. Let me rephrase it then. She's not in this show enough.
There, yeah.
Unfortunately, and it's sad because I like her as a character. Caitlyn just has this way about playing like the big sister type of characters that's kind of very snarky. Another example, even though it's not really big sister kind of character, is her character in Black Clover. She just likes to heckle and hassle. Yep, she likes to heckle and hassle people. It's kind of funny. I love it.
She likes to bust Eric Vale's balls in that show.
Yup, it's the greatest thing. I love it. Anastasia Munoz, Gozen's a bitch. Gozen is a bitch. She does give Gozen a kind of regal air to her because she is of nobility, in a sense. However, she's such a bitch, and I love it. Yeah, she's like, you know what? Fuck Nobunaga. Why you want to disappoint Mom? Like, she's very cunning, and she's very manipulative, especially with Nobukatsu. Like, he's like, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. You'll make me very upset. And then Nobukatsu's just like, okay, I'll listen, Mom. Oh, Nobukatsu, poor Nobukatsu.
Oh, God, that reminds me.
Precious child.
That reminds me of the, I want to say it was like episode 6, where he's with his advisors and his mother, and he's just there like, I need to go give Nobunaga aid. And she's just like, no, you're gonna sit down. And then she told him, and then she tells him that, you know, he can go, but he's not allowed to leave his horse. God, what a mama's boy.
Which he didn't. He's such a mama's boy.
We're gonna get to that later.
Yeah.
Which he don't
have
leave
time.
his horse, you asshole.
We don't have time to unpack all that.
Not right now.
Yeah, we don't
Anyway,
have time to unpack all of this.
Oh God. Maybe some other time. Anyway, but yeah, Anastasia Munoz goes in as a bitch. It's fun, but does have that regal sense of nobility to it, and that works very, very well. Hidetaka is a precious cinnamon roll, too good and pure for this earth. Madeline Morris got done dirty. She got done dirty. Yeah, like, Ruth was kind of explaining it a lot better than I could. You can easily tell that there is something about Hidetaka that's going on with him. Could be he's autistic, or could be something else. But it's not an overplay. It's not like overplayed. It's not underplayed. It's subtle enough for it to work, and you can notice it, which is fantastic. And I don't hear Madeline Morris's little boys that often, unfortunately. And I think her little boy voice here actually worked very well. So I do like all three of these performances. But Madeline Morris got done dirty.
Yeah.
Like, she really did. She got done dirty. I'm done.
All right, Jet.
Okay, I didn't have notes on any of these three, so I will be very quick. Caitlin Barr as Ohana. She wasn't in the... she was in the show a lot, but mostly in the background. But I definitely enjoy Caitlin Barr's performance, and I thought she did a good job of, being like the... being kind of the doting older sister. She likes to heckle her brother a lot, and I like a lot of their interactions. Like that whole bit in episode 2 I briefly mentioned where she's kind of heckling him over getting married was kind of funny. Okay, and like Ruth was saying, she does kind of serve as a informative source, even if not like always intentionally. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I do wish I had a little bit more to say to her, but I do like what Caitlin Barr summoned her so far. I definitely have more to say about Anastasia Munoz as Gozen, because as we've established, Gozen's kind of a piece of work. She very clearly has an eye for Nobunaga. We don't quite know why yet. But he definitely leans more towards Obikatsu and very clearly wants to groom him to take over the family. And she's also very controlling of him, as we kind of see where she lays down the ground rules if he wants to go off the same Nobunaga, and that whole bit was pretty interesting. Okay, and I definitely like Anastasia's tone. She gives her a very regal tone. And that makes her sound very authoritative, like somebody you definitely do not want to screw around with. And also a little manipulative, which is always kind of fun. And very interesting character, not a very likable character, but I definitely enjoyed the performance a lot. And then Madeline Morris is a Hidetaka, as we've already established. Hidetaka is just kind of a cinnamon roll to practice the good for this world, which means very clearly gonna die. I didn't quite pick up on it. Okay.
I love that's how we can tell. You're a cinnamon roll, right? Yeah, you're gonna die. What?
Yeah, I didn't quite catch up on the potential autism angle, but now that you mention it, I do kind of see it now, and I do think that was handled very tastefully. Okay, and I do like how Madeline played the character and made him sound very sweet. Okay, it did sound maybe like a little too feminine for how old he's supposed to be. Like, it's never said how old he is, but I'm guessing he's like 12 or 13 or something like that, so he did sound maybe a little too soft for that. But other than that, I thought the performance was very good.
I think that's the point of his character, is that he is very soft-spoken, and they kind of, like, I think even his mom is like, we're gonna send him to a place where he doesn't have to be a samurai.
Yep.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do very vividly recall that being mentioned.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, not Made's performance was very good. I definitely felt very bad when he died, even if it was kind of obvious he was going to die. And, yeah, all the performances were very good.
Hidetaka didn't deserve this.
Nope. Hidetaka did nothing wrong.
I just want to make Madeline a shirt that says Hidetaka did nothing wrong.
Nice.
Caitlin Barr is a really good older sister. She's got a lot of charm and kind of wit to her in the little bit of time that she's seen her. She's very much Nobunaga's ball buster. Let's go. Anastasia Munoz's Gozen is... I'm used to Anastasia Munoz playing a lot of people's shitty parrots. But man, Gozen is like... I think the thing that she is that she's not like... It's not like the overt, bad, evil, mean mom type of voice. It's very much the scheming politician voice.
Yeah.
But she's also a mom. And she's... I think the other thing that really got me with her is when, she's over Hidetaka's dead body, and she's, like, hysterically crying, and she's like, Nobutaka, look at his face. It's as if he was forever dreaming. Yep. And, like, I thought she did such a good job in that scene, and then when she's begging to Nobunaga to spare his brother.
Yep.
Just the levels of, oh, well, I fucked up.
Well.
Like, thanks, Ma.
It's like, Carrot. God, she's like the politician version of I want to speak to your manager.
I am the manager.
Nobunaga spins around. I am the manager.
Where's the manager? Where's the name tag? Hello, my name is Nobunaga.
Where's
store manager?
Where's the head of the Nobunaga clan? Bring me to him. Nobunaga turns around. May I help you?
Accurate.
Everybody in the room is just smacking their heads. But really, actually, I can't bring on, but no, I really actually do want to super compliment Madeline Morris as, Hidetaka, because I also have never heard Madeline Morris play a little boy before. And he's not very little. He is very much like a preteen, and...
Preteen.
I do...
His balls hasn't dropped yet.
Yeah, because I would say, because Nobutaka, I think, was also played by a female actor until he suddenly, apparently, as in the show they state, Nobutaka suddenly got really hot. But the way that he plays him is so gentle and sweet, and, like... it sounds really weird that I'm gonna say this. There's another show that will never get dubbed, but now I kind of want Madeline Morris to play this one character until something happens to him where she can't play that character anymore. And I'll explain what it is to you guys after we record this. But I think she did such a good job capturing the innocence and gentleness of Hidetaka, because as Gozen states that he is not fit to be a samurai. They want to send him to a farm up north where he can play with the bugs.
Oh God! Oh George!
And then he gets shot in the back with an arrow. And I just think that he is the absolute sweetest, and I think Madeline played it really well. I know a lot of people might critique it for being a little too feminine, but like, read the character and read the show, and that. I actually was quite surprised to learn it was Madeline Morris. I thought it was a very soft-spoken gentleman. This is actually a character that I would have actually put, like, Michaela Krantz as.
Which is funny.
Because Michaela Krantz is, like, as like, one of the most feminine characters. So, just overall, I think a solid job. Are we ready to move on to the next two characters?
Let's do it.
Awesome. So, the next two characters we are talking about are kind of allies of Nobunaga through his early life, and towards the beginning of, like, when he becomes a conqueror. They are, Takugen, a Buddhist monk who lives in the, territory that the Nobunaga clan controls, and Hirate. Hirate is essentially the retainer that was closest to, Nobunaga's father, who, who basically raised Nobunaga as if he was his own son. Just to get, I don't think it doesn't have his full name. Just Nobuhiro. No, Nobuhiro's the brother. Nobuhide. He was the retainer. He was like Nobuhide, who was the dad's like best friend and retainer. So, playing Takugen is Micah Solisad, and playing Hirate is Mark Stoddard. Micah Soul saw to know as characters such as Yuichiro Hyakuya in Seraph of the End, Black in The King of Despair in Blood Blockade Battlefront, and Akashi Kuniyuki in Tokenrambu Hanamaru. Mark Spotter, you'll know as characters such as Spade in Aka 13 Territory Inspections Department, Joho Butterfly Joe Koizumi in Ping Pong, the animation, and Ushimatsu Kadota in Sakura Quest. So, Roots, go ahead.
Okay, so first and foremost, can I just say I really love the fact that Micah Soulsad played Takugen as sort of this really shifty character, and yet he's still on Nobunaga's side, pretty much, through the whole thing. Like, I love shifty good guys.
That's one way to describe it.
Like, he's cold and calculating, and yet, like, he's one of the good guys, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm all for this. Doing what's gotta be done. But in all seriousness, I really like the fact that, like, he's played as somebody who legitimately cares about Nobunaga and his general cause of uniting his specific region of Japan. And just going around using, like, the fact that he's a monk as a cover to, like, gather information and manipulate people to better suit Nobunaga's needs. And I just really love that in a character. And Micah Soulsad really gets that across. And, like, I really like Mark Stoddard as an actor. Like, he just has this really warm voice that I really love it when he plays fatherly figures. Like, I still get chills with his speech as Dr. Hero Look.
Oh, my heart.
Dr. Hero Look?
In One Piece.
One Piece.
Oh.
Tony Chopper's adoptive dad.
Okay.
He dies.
He dies.
I know this.
We're just letting you know, though. He dies. He's so precious.
He makes a speech and then he blowed up.
He blowed it up.
He exploded.
I'm trying to recall what happened to him in the 4Kid stuff, because I honestly don't remember.
He just died.
He got sick.
Oh.
Like,
he went to
he
went to a farm down south.
God damn it.
Like, if I recall
Okay, so he
correctly,
died.
I think they actually kept in the fact that Chopper accidentally poisoned him. But
yeah, I think I do vaguely remember that.
But they-
it is 4Kid, so it's hard to know.
yeah, I think the only thing they cut out was the explosion.
Yep.
But anyway, back to Kochoki. I really like the standout of his performance is the last episode he shows up. I think it's 4 or 5.
Pretty sure it's 4.
I think it's
4.
Yeah, toward the end of his role in 4 when he's on his deathbed. Like it really shows how much the character of Hirate cared about Nobunaga, pretty much as if he were his own son. And yeah, I really like the fact that Mark Stoddard gave him sort of this grandfatherly warmth, and I just like both of these performances overall, so thumbs up.
Crap, I was chewing food. Okay. So I will start with Micah. Micah, I never thought... I don't think I've ever seen Micah play this type of character before. Where he's the... Roots, how did you describe this character again?
He's
Shady.
He's like a shifty good guy.
The shifty good guy. I don't think I've really ever seen Micah play the shifty good guy, let alone a monk before. I mean, Takugen is definitely... He has the tone of voice that makes it sound like he's gonna betray everybody in the end. And I honestly wouldn't be surprised if by the end of it he does something fucking stupid. Like, and he makes me want to punt him into the sun. But at the same time, as far as we know of, that's not the case. And it's actually really good. And I think it also, what really helps too, and it might be a factor into the tone of voice that's used here, because of his profession, he has like this a spiritual, breathy kind of tone to his voice in a way, which kind of exudes this man of God of the sorts, or man of Buddha, I should say. And I think it actually works very, very well with his performance. And like Roots was saying, I like how he also is doing things. He uses this profession also as a cover for certain things. He's the one, I'm assuming, because Nobunaga for the longest time had written so many letters to Nobukatsu, but then but he never got a reply. All of a sudden, Nobukatsu gets one letter from him that was hand-delivered by Takugen. I'm assuming that all the other letters were taken away and he never got to read them. So it's fun that he gets to just kind of like sneak his way in there and just be like, and his excuse is like, I'm just visiting for this holiday, celebrate the great Buddha, and in actuality he's just, here, your brother wrote you a letter. It's great. But the real reason why we're all here is Papa Mark Stoddard. Good old dad, Hirate. I also love Mark Stoddard characters. He's so fun. I think one of my favorite Mark Stoddard roles is definitely Butterfly Joe from Ping Pong, though. That's my favorite. He's a good one. Because Mark is good at playing older characters, but he's also good at playing fatherly figures. And like Roots was touching on before, Hirate is definitely a father figure to Nobunaga. Especially because we know this very, very early on, by the end of episode 1, that Nobuhide, their father, isn't exactly the most caring individual in the world.
Their dad, he cares.
In his own way.
Not in his own way.
His own way. His own way. But,
Cat's in the cradle of the silver spoon. Little boy blue and the man of the moon. When you coming home, Dad? I don't know when. But we'll be together then, Dad. I know we'll have a good time then.
Yeah.
God damn it. Yeah.
Cats in the cradle?
Not the greatest first impression of Dad, but Hirate is definitely he's very wise, he's very caring, he has such heart, and he's compassionate towards Nobunaga and Nobukatsu, all of the members of the Oda family and the Oda clan. He has this huge heart and this compassion towards them, and so much so that he's willing to give up his life in the end for it. And again, like Roots was saying, when he was on his deathbed, I felt it so bad. I was like, no, you stay. Dad, you need to stay. Dad, don't go away, Dad.
Just stay long enough for Nobunaga to say he won.
Just that long. Just at least that long. And then you can pass away with a smile on your face. Because that would be so cute. And, oh, God. The feels. But anyway, yeah, both of these performances are fantastic. But, I know I have to give it up to Mark Stoddard. I think he's, in the short amount of time that Hirate was in the show, he easily became one of my favorite characters.
I was gonna say, it could be worse. Your dad could literally be Breaking Boss from Cashern.
Oh, God.
Ooh.
Yeah, that is Paul Slavens.
Oh my God, you're right.
Yeah,
I forgot.
His dad just fucked off to go follow Eric Vale around. Son, I'm dying. Long? Dad, what are you gonna do in your next life? I'm gonna go fuck with Eric Vale. Dad, what's an Eric Vale?
I don't know, son, but I'm gonna find out. Anyway, I'm done.
So I'll also start with Michael Salazar's talk again. Weirdly, I didn't have any notes for him because I didn't really have any time for that. But I definitely enjoyed him. Like everyone else has been saying, it is a very interesting role for Michael Salazar. I definitely haven't seen him play this kind of good guy before. Well, for as much of a good guy as someone aligned to, someone who's going to grow up to become one of the most infamous warlords in Japan can be. But it is what it is. And I definitely like the way Mike has been playing him. Where he sounds shady, and you kind of can't tell, and it kind of seems like you can't tell what his intentions are. But so far, he's been helping Nobunaga out, and just doing little things for him here and there, and kind of being a good advisor for him. I especially like that bit in episode 1 where Nobunaga tries to go help his friends, he gets knocked out, and then he wakes up and talks again, and Doc again kind of has to explain to him why he wasn't allowed to go help his friends, and I thought that whole bit of political maneuvering was very interesting. And it just kind of helped to give me an immediate idea of where this guy's role is in Nobunaga's life, and Mike does a really good job of him. I'm definitely very interested in seeing where this character will go and what else he gets to do later on. As for Mark Sargent's Hirite, this was definitely a very interesting role here. Mark Sargent is definitely pretty much synonymous with playing seasoned veterans at this point. And while he does get typecast as that kind of character a lot, he's also very good at that sort of character, so it balances out. Hirite is definitely not too different from the kind of character he normally does. And among Nobunaga's various retainers, he definitely stands out as being the most distinguished and respected in his position. And Mark Sargent's tone definitely carries across all the confidence and wisdom that would kind of naturally come with that. And on the first few episodes, he just kind of mostly hangs out in the background, being very supportive of Nobunaga or, dealing with all the other retainers. He does come into the spotlight in episode 4, where Nobunaga's other retainers consider ousting him when he saddles them with the task of acquiring 500 muskets. While Hirite remains firmly dedicated to him and believes it's his duty to carry it out, even if it does sound pretty absurd. And that whole unwavering sense of loyalty really shines through in Mark's performance. And he helps to make it clear that while part of Hirite's loyalty to Nobunaga is because of how loyal he was to his father Nobuhide, it's also clear that he is very fond of Nobunaga personally, and that he does see his potential. And it does make his eventual demise pretty heartbreaking. And while I didn't cry when he died, Mark's delivery when Hirite was passing on his final words to Nobunaga was definitely a pretty strong moment for me. And definitely one of the strongest moments in this dub. And I'm really glad that Mark just brought a really solid performance to this, because Hirite was mostly a side character, and it's going to have been a very phoned-in performance, but I thought he did a really great job here. I did a lot to make Hirite feel very memorable to me, so great job. I'm done.
I'm just very happy that, this is my own crowning achievement. I got some girl on the Funimation Discord to watch MDZS, and now she's hooked. I did it, fam. Anyway, I was surprised that Micah Solasad was talk again. This is not a character that I would normally associate him being. I was very surprised that he is this kind of, slimy, shady Buddhist priest. And, I vividly remembered episode 1 being you motherfucker, you sold out these goddamn kids, how dare you? It's no peace on our side. I'm what the fuck is wrong with you? So I think Micah does a really good job of playing that fine line between being a slimeball and being just the whole, we just need to line our coffers type of deal. He is, I think that's another thing where he shows up to talk to Nobuhiko. Not Nobuhiko. Nobukatsu. And, Chris Rager's what are you doing in here? You're supposed to, it's it's just Buddha's birthday and I'm trying to get some coin. He's get the hell out of here. So, but he hasn't shown up again since, so I'm kind of sad. Because I genuinely enjoyed him as a character, and Micah Solasad's performance is very much not something I normally expect Micah Solasad doing unless he's playing a bad guy. And this guy is kind of in that gray area. But Mark Stoddard put so much heart and love into his performance as Hirate, who you could sense the warm, jovial grandpa, as well as the absolutely shit-pantsingly terrifying aspects of him. Like, where they're all like, oh yeah, this guy ain't shit, and he's like, well then, you wanna fucking fight me?
Well, go, mate!
Like, wanna go, mate?
Let's go, mate!
Where he literally just opens the door on these guys all shit-talking Nobunaga. And he's like, if you're gonna leave, then get out. I also like how he's always the first person to be like, well, if you're gonna talk shit, it's like, well, if you think Nobunaga's a bad leader, he's only as good as his retainers. The sunglasses descend and the motherfucking G music comes on behind Hirate.
Deal with it.
Deal with it. But Mark plays him so all across the board as, like, jovial grandpa, like, retainer warlord, and just a guy proud of his son. Because, like, when he's dying, I think it's like, I want this moment to be the springboard to your ascending to greatness as he's passing on. And just the way that he does that speech is just like, you're like, Hirate, you gotta wake up. Like, I was expecting Nobunaga to go full baby Simba.
Oh my god.
Where he's like, Dad? And he's pushing on him.
Aww.
So I thought Mark did a fantastic job. It's one of the secondary performances I like a lot in this show, and yeah. So are we good to move on from there?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so let's talk about two of Nobunaga's closest allies, his wife and his idiot.
Oh, yay. This
Kicho is Nobunaga's wife. She is the daughter of Saito Dozan, who is of another, I forget what the area is called. The Mito family. Who essentially gets married to her in a political marriage. He thinks that she's gonna kill him. And he's absolutely right, by the way. She was gonna kill him. She's gonna kill him and run back home. But the two end up having a genuine love between each other, and she's also a ninja. And it's awesome.
Yeah, and she is also the narrator.
Yes, she's also the narrator. Also, they also do have a genuine love of each other, and it's some of the sweetest dialogue in the show between them. Toshi, or Madea Toshi, is the fourth son of the Madea family. He was known as, I think, Inochi?
I think it was Inochi.
Yeah, he was known as Inochi. He essentially was this obnoxious small child who kept demanding that Nobunaga hire him, and eventually he became a page and one of his most trusted allies. Toshi's general trait is that he's dumb as a sack of rocks. And that he is always yelling and screaming and kind of charges headfirst into battle. He's also my best boy. He's also Megan's favorite character. So, playing Kicho is Dawn M. Bennett, and playing Toshi is Derek Snow. Dawn M. Bennett, you'll know as characters such as Nagisa Araki in Hanabado, Satsuki in Konohana Kitan, and Hotaru Maru in Token Rambu Hanamaru. Derek Snow, you'll know as characters such as Danny in Angels of Death, Hermes in Kino's Journey to the Beautiful World, and Yagin Toshiro in Token Rambu Hanamaru. So, Root to Justice, start off.
Alright, so Derek Snow as Toshie. Precious cinnamon roll, too precious for this world. Like, oh my god. And remember what I said earlier about the stilted dialogue versus sort of a couple of characters that sort of speak a little more freely like a commoner? Toshie happens to be one of those characters who acts as sort of he speaks a little more simply than the nobles of the Oda household, but he's very blunt, first and foremost, like hilariously blunt, Also, I don't know if anybody else noticed, but did they give him, like, a very slight southern or country accent?
I think that's just how Derek Snow talks.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because I think that added a little bit of... I actually think it helped the character quite a bit. Because if I recall correctly, he is essentially a commoner. Right?
I believe so. Yeah, I believe so.
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it just sort of adds this a little subtle layer of country bumpkin that, given the fact that Toshie is sort of this, he's sort of portrayed in the show as like a fish out of water. And I think that really kind of helped a little bit. I also... There was one scene I really liked in one of the first couple of episodes. He sent a spy on Hirate by some of the other members of the household. Because he's being just a little too loyal to Nobunaga. So he's going through his stuff, and he's stopped. And he's asked what he's doing, and he's just like, yeah. How does this guy have all these fancy tea sets if he's, just some retainer? And I want to say it was Ohana he was talking to.
Yes.
Yeah, it was.
Where she was just like, oh, yeah, that's because he earned those for his distinguished service. And then he's just like, oh, I'm sorry. Changes his tune, like, on a dime, and I thought that was, like, hilarious. And, I really like how Dawn Bennett played Kicho, like, really stoically in the first couple of episodes you see her, and then, like, when she... Like, a moment after she basically tells Nobunaga, yeah, I'm basically here to kill you, and they just sort of actually fall in love after he, like, shows her this tree grove that he would rather die in than in the palace grounds. And, like, she becomes fiercely loyal to him. Like, I love how she sort of plays the in-between of doting wife and stoic fighter. Especially in the later episodes where she actually has to go into ninja mode and, like, actually bust a couple skulls. Which I thought was really cool. So, thumbs up all around. Really great, solid performances. Yeah.
Ooh, where do I want to start on this one? I'm gonna start with Kicho. And Miss Dawn Bennett, because Kicho is definitely a very graceful yet strong presence, kind of a badass in a time period where you wouldn't expect female ninjas to pop out of nowhere, and I just love, I love Dawn. She's this very regal, graceful, mature woman, and what's also great about it is are those insecurities that she has about her relationship, because she does want to protect Nobunaga, but she does have her own insecurities and doubts, because she's, throughout the course of the show so far, she's been seen as kind of complacent with her current lifestyle and her current situation, and it's her sister-in-law, I think they call her, right?
Who?
Mallory Rodek's character.
Oh, it's basically like, okay, it's not her sister-in-law. Basically, they're like sworn sisters.
Yeah.
They're not actual sisters, but they're basically were raised to be. I think, like, the way that they explained it in the show was that everybody who was trained in the ninja thing was instructed to call, Sozin I think his name is Sozin. I'm sorry, I keep forgetting.
I know there was a character named
Dosan.
Oh, Dosan.
Saito Dozan, they were all made to call him father so that they would be eternally loyal to him.
Right. Okay. But Mallory's character on the few times where she visited Kicho, she would also kind of remind her, like, hey, you are becoming very complacent. Like, you can't do anything. And then all of a sudden Kicho's like, shit! And she kind of just has to try and get her groove back in a sense. And it's a very interesting performance. And I do like the narrator tone of voice too, because clearly it is Kicho telling the story about her husband. But it's also it's not, whimsical's not the right word, but it does kind of have his air of fanciful, like, broad storytelling without over exaggerating it. I enjoy it very well. Derek Snow. Oh god. I love Derek Snow. This season has me appreciate Derek Snow on a whole new level.
This is, like, honestly, this is the fucking season of Derek Snow, guys.
This is Derek Snow's, like, highlight. It really is. Like, we're gonna be talking about the show later. I'm not gonna say what it is, but he has his first lead this season. Like, ever. So
okay, let's not beat it. Guys, let's just not beat around the bush. Everybody knows what it is at this point.
So,
we all know it's Fire Force.
Yeah, I mean, why beat around the bush? It's literally on TV.
You're right.
He's in this as a pretty prominent character. He's the lead in Fire Force. I think he's in a couple other shows.
He might be. He's in On Stars, right?
Yes, he showed up once in On Stars. He showed up once, and I immediately knew who the fuck he was.
But yeah,
I was like, "There's Derek's character."
It's like, it's great that now, because Derek Snow has been becoming more prominent in recent years, but now this is the season for Derek, and it's great.
When Derek got announced for Fire Force, everybody's like, who's this new actor, Derek Snow? I'm like, no, Derek Snow has been around for a while, shut up.
Like a bunch of people like, who's this? And then the rest of us here at Dub Talk are like, hell yeah!
Yeah.
Like, hell yeah, Derek Snow!
Everybody else at Dub Talk just immediately looks around for Pomeranians in their peripherals.
Yes! Pomeranian choir.
Pomeranians are closer than... Pomeranians in your rear view are closer than they appear.
God damn it.
I'm doing something right
No,
now.
but I love Derek Snow. He's grown on me so much as an actor, and this season definitely, like, proves it for me. If Dr. Danny from Angels of Death is, like, the slow ascent to a high point, now we're here with Kochoki and Fire Force. Like, holy shit. But yeah, god damn it. His character's a goober. Like, he's such an idiot. He's, like, Toshi is definitely a very passionate character. Very strong-willed and gung-ho, and he's very devoted and loyal, which is great. That comes through very well. Babby Toshi. Babby Toshi's a moron.
He may be an idiot, but he's our idiot. God damn it.
He's our idiot. God damn it.
Nobunaga's enemy. That kid's an idiot. Yeah, but he's our idiot.
He's my idiot. I love him so much. But yeah, like, little preteen Babby Toshi's just, like, trying, like, can I help in the kitchen? I'll be a poison taster. I'll help with the horses. And him just fucking everything up is the greatest thing in the world.
My absolute favorite moment in that entire thing is, aw, look, Nobunaga, he's dressing like you. Oh god, I look like that.
Wait, that's what I look like? Yup. And then he dresses the horse all extravagant, like, what the fuck you doing, child? But, yeah, for all of the, because Toshi's definitely very, very much a comedic character to an extent. He's very heavily a comedic character, but even with that, bearing that in mind, he has, like, this devotion and this loyalty and this passion to him, that he just wants to serve Nobunaga. He wants what's best for him. He wants to do what he can to make sure he is happy and everything is perfectly fine. It's similar to the devotion and passion that Tsukinoki has, who we're going to talk about, I think, is it next? Yes, we are. But it's very much more outwardly present, where Tsukinoki doesn't really outwardly show it. Tsukinoki shows it with his words. Meanwhile, Toshi just shows it with his actions. Like, it's two different kinds of showing, like, two different kinds of presenting this devotion and this loyalty to their lord, and it actually works very, very well. And Derek is just too fucking adorable. I love it. Yeah, I know I said Mark Stoddard was one of my favorites in the show. I think Derek, like, it was Nobunaga for a while who was my favorite. Then Derek Snow jumps in and runs off with it. So I think Derek Snow's probably my favorite from the show right now. That could always change, but he's very, very enjoyable. Him and Don as Kicho, they're very adorable and fun. I'm done.
Okay, so I will start with Derek Snow as Toshi. Toshi has been a very fun character so far. Okay, I like the when we were first introduced to him, he's kind of very much a dork, and Derek Snow very much plays him as like a very dorky goofball, constantly getting into trouble. And I thought a lot of his early antics were pretty funny, and especially a lot of his early interaction with Nobunaga, who's like, "Who's this kid?" And I think we got a pretty good kick out of that. Okay, and then we do gradually see him grow up, and while while there's not like a really big vocal distinction between Kid Toshi and older Toshi, he does sound a little more mature, maybe a little bit more like, okay, you can kind of see how he became a retainer. Okay, and so Eddie's very much clearly a warrior in his own right, even if he still kind of fumbles up every now and then. Okay, but the thing that definitely shines through the most in Derek's performance is that you can definitely sense his loyalty to Nobunaga, and very much so. Well, he's obviously not the most loyal of his retainers, but he's definitely up there. And I feel like Derek Snow gets that across really well, and it's a really fun performance. As for Dawn Bennett, I have quite a bit more to say about her. God, let me pull up my notes. Stupid phone. Sorry.
It's okay.
Okay. Alright, there we go. So Dawn Bennett is somebody who's usually impressed me with her work, and I definitely think she brought out one of my favorite performances from this time. For the moment we're introduced to Kicho, she's pretty much an immediately interesting character, as he has to play the role of both a doting wife while also having been brought up as a ninja, and also, being no stranger to assassinations. And Dawn plays those aspects very well, and while there is, like a very clear vocal distinction between her as a wife and her as a ninja, her tone changes up enough so you can kind of tell whenever she's switching gears. And I also like that her voice has had a very regal quality to it that helps to add a little bit of flavor to some of the show's political maneuvering. And I think of the main three characters, he kind of does the best in that area. But of course, while Kicho was originally married Nobunaga with the intent of killing him, she does eventually kind of, well, I wouldn't say manipulate him, but she does just kind of eventually decide to stay with him. And in the process, eventually comes to fall for him. And as she spends more time with him, she does kind of begin to fear that she's losing her as the warrior. And Dawn gets across those moments of vulnerability very well. And I especially like her moments where she attempts to express her concerns to Tsunoyoki, especially in, I think it was episode 7 or 8 where that happens, and how she kind of envies his level of devotion towards Nobunaga. And I'm definitely very interested in seeing where Kicho's arc is headed, especially since I don't really know much about her from what I know of Sengoku era history. And out of the main trio, I have to say that Dawn's performance is easily my favorite, and I also really dig her as a narrator, so definitely big thumbs up. I'm done.
Alright, so I absolutely love Derek Snow as Toshi because he is such a goofball and it's so there in his performance. He is such a lovable character. Like, I think the other thing that really gets me is that you can absolutely hear how bullheaded he is. He is clearly the youngest member of this party, and he is very much I'm gonna get them! How dare those traitors, like... There's a level of childishness in his performance that I think he gets across very well, even if he is an adult. I think that his voice has the right level of annoying charm to it as baby Toshi. And as an adult, he's definitely got the good vanilla dumb boy voice. So I think that he balances that really well. And then Dawn as Kicho has such a maturity to her voice that I'm not always 100% used to Dawn being. It was... I want to tell a really, really funny story about this, but it involves spoiling who Nobunaga is. So I don't want to say it until we get to Nobunaga.
Oh god.
But she is a highlight in this show. She is, you can tell there's a difference between when she's younger and when she's older, when she has these very romantic moments with, Nobunaga. Cause, it just, yeah. And then one of my other favorite scenes with her is when, she is talking about the peacock kimono.
Yep.
So, I think that she does such a good job. And you guys have said a lot of it. She has that vulnerability, and she has those doubts in her voice with her performance. Where she's vulnerable, where she's got these doubts, where she's a child and stuff. Like, she is so grounded as a performance in this. It's hard to explain without, like, just seeing it. So yeah, props to Dawn. Are we good to move on to... Oh boy, here we go!
Are we ready to punt someone into the sun?
Let's talk about the right hand. Let's talk about the right hand man. The right hand men of both the Oda brothers. We have Suzuki, who is a retainer to Oda Nobukatsu, who is a manipulative snake who gets. He is the one who orchestrates Hidetaka's death in order to break the brotherly bonds between Nobukatsu and Nobuhiko.
AKA, we should punt him into the sun.
He's got a silver tongue, and he's also a ruthless warrior who's not beyond telling people to, rape, pillage, and burn. He's also probably fucking Nobukatsu. The show heavily implies that he is in a gay lover relationship with him.
Yep.
You think I'm lying? I'm not. And then there's Tsunoki.
There is no
hetero
hetero
explanation for that.
For some of the dialogue
no.
that comes out of his mouth.
Or his actions. Or his actions in certain scenes. Tsunoki is Nobunaga's #1 best friend. He has been with him since childhood. He is Nobunaga's blunt mother. He is his best friend, his defender, his number one warrior. So, playing Suzuki is J. Michael Tatum. Playing Tsunoki is Christopher Waycamp. J. Michael Tatum, you'll know his characters such as Shiro in Assassination Classroom, Kiji Mitsuba in Nambaka, and Souza Simonji in Tokunabu Hanamaru. Christopher Waycamp, you'll know his characters such as Sieghart Sieg Mueller in Izetta the Last Witch, Tenkakumo in Laughing Under the Clouds, and Hizumaru in Zoku Token Rambu Hanamaru. Now, before I start, if you haven't noticed, I've been bringing up Token Rambu Hanamaru, everyone's favorite show about Japanese swords. So I actually asked a friend of mine, who I've met online, who we will lovingly refer to her as Mao. Mao is actually an anthropologist. I am not lying. I am friends with an anthropologist. She also really likes Token Rambu and is going for her PhD. So I had to ask her, hey, which of the swords were owned by Oda Nobunaga? And she said Hasebe, Souza, Yagin, and Fudo. At least 3 of these actors are somewhere in this dub, and we have talked about 2 of them tonight. And I would also like to point out that Suzuki does not like Nobunaga. Do you want to guess which sword fucking hates Nobunaga?
Oh my god!
It's Souza! Souza
I forgot that was a thing.
And I asked her why, because it has been a little bit of a while. So I had asked her, Souza, I said hilariously, one of the guys super against Nobunaga is Souza's actor, and she said that's not surprising. Souza was altered from his original straight as a treasure from war by Nobunaga. And if you have to ask, Yagen was apparently the Tonto that he used to kill himself.
Oh.
Again, a lot. I asked her.
Oh,
I tried to ask her a
wow.
little bit more, but she said, "Oh, there are other swords that he potentially could have owned, which were Munechika, the Kuninaga, and the Shokodaikari, but it's hard to tell in pinpoint, and they believe that is to be legend." So, that is what I got from her. But yeah, so let the punting begin. Roots of Justice.
This isn't the fuckboy derby. We just want to punt this man into the sun.
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention for a sec. Have we already done the actors and everything?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So it is basically my turn
Yes.
now to speak. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So, Christopher Wakehamp as Tsuenoki. I mean, it's a stoic Christopher Wakehamp role. Like, how can I complain about that? It's like it's basically like a bit more of an upbeat-ish Aizawa, which, you know, there's nothing really to complain about. I like the I like performances Chris Wakehamp does. Joker game in particular. Actually, that one comes to mind a bit more now that I think about it. But I like how he plays him a bit stoic. Strongly loyal to Nobunaga. And unfortunately, like, that's basically about it to the character he plays. But, you know, you do what you can with the... You know, you do what you can with what you're given, so... And I think he does a really good job. So, Suzuki. J. Michael Tatum.
Punt him into the sun.
Go! But yeah, I like J. Michael Tatum villains. Like, I like it when he plays cinnamon bun characters, but in particular, I like his villains. Because he is able to play them with such a level of slime and grease. Like, the villains he gets to play worm themselves into the course of the show and strangle it from within. And I just love smarmy types like that. And he gets a lot of great little one-off moments with Nobukatsu and his mother and his attendants. Like, it's clear that no one around him, except for Nobukatsu, really trusts him. But he brings results. And I love characters like that. So, both Chris Wakehamp and J. Michael Tatum did really great jobs as their attendants. Yeah. Not really much here I have to say, but, like, J. Michael Tatum, really great at playing villains. I hope he gets more roles like this in the future.
Steph.
Sorry, 1 second. Okay. I'll make this very easy. So, one of the highest compliments I can give to someone is if I want to punch your character into the sun. Because they are a terrible piece of shit person. Thank you, J. Michael Tatum. I want to punch your character into the sun. like, so bad. He is, oh god. Like, Suzuki is very cunning and conniving and just so slimy and devious, and you very much can tell, like, he had these ill intentions from the start, probably from the day that he met Nobukatsu. It's funny because I think Suzuki and Toshi basically met their lords around the same time. They started working for their lords around the same time, if I'm correct. At least in this canon timeline, anyway. But Suzuki, he's just very manipulative. He's willing to do whatever it takes to get what he wants, to the point of clearly starting a relationship with Nobukatsu, this poor innocent child. Good lord. And holy crap, Tatum just plays it just, oh, it's so delicious, so evil. I love every second of it. And again, the highest compliment I can give to someone playing a villain is I want to punt this person into the sun. Because they do it so convincingly well, I want them dead. That's basically the best way I can describe it. And Tatum is fantastic. And yeah, Tatum plays some villain roles on occasion, but not often enough. I want to hear Tatum as more villains because he's just having so much fun. You can tell he's having so much fun being this conniving little shit. As for Christopher Wakehamp as Suinoki, kind of how I was explaining Wakehamp's character when talking about Derek Snow as Toshi, because Wakehamp is just as devoted, just as loyal of a retainer to Nobunaga as Toshi is. But how they present that loyalty and that devotion is two different ways. Toshi's is through his actions, Tsukinoki is through his words, 9 times out of 10. It's stated several times in the show so far that Tsukinoki can just tell Nobunaga anything. Even be the most blunt thing in human history, and Nobunaga will just take it with stride. Like, even if it comes off as completely rude by some standards, by the other retainers, like, Nobunaga trusts his judgment and to a point where he could just be like, Tsukinoki could just be straightforward with him, and it doesn't matter. And Wakehamp does that very, very well. It's very much more of a kind of a stoic performance. I don't want to say regal because it's not really of nobility in a sense, but it's very stoic. He does have a commanding presence when he's in the room, and he's able to rein in Nobunaga quite a bit when Nobunaga's an idiot, especially very early on. Which, by the way, Babi Tsukinoki, side note, I didn't know that Wakehamp could magically pull off a younger version
I've
of
heard
character.
Wakehamp push himself pretty high before, so...
Well, this didn't seem like it was pushing it too far, honestly, to me. Like, Tsukinoki, when we first meet him, is at least, like, probably preteens as well. Him and Nobunaga. While the tone of voice from Nobunaga, that actor's natural range can kind of go into that range a bit more easily, but that's mostly because of their natural voice anyway. Wakehamp is a little bit of a tougher story, but I think he actually pulls off the younger version of Tsukinoki rather well, in my opinion. As far as I know, this is the first time I've ever heard him go, like, straight younger voice. But both these performances, I really enjoyed them. They are definitely two different sides of the same coin in its own way. I want to punt Tatum into the sun. Thank you for that. Yeah, these two are great performances, and rightfully and naturally so. I enjoyed them very much.
Jet?
Okay, sorry. I did that for a second.
That's okay.
I was just trying to coordinate with Andrew for tomorrow.
Oh yeah, you're going to see Promare.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll actually start with Tsunoyoki. So I'm still not as good as immediately recognizing Chris Wakehamp as I probably should be at this point. But I still enjoy him in each new thing I hear him in, and I definitely thought he did a very solid job here. I felt like he was kind of straining his voice maybe a little bit with the younger version of Tsunoyoki, and it was a little distracting at times for me. But as an adult version of the character, he sounded very on point, and I definitely enjoyed the mix of conviction and kind of supportive in his tone. Tsuyoki is very clearly dedicated to his master, which, going by the visuals in the ending song, is obviously supposed to be a pretty big marketing point for the show. Wink, wink, nudge. Uh, and Chris Wakeup gets that dedication and respect across pretty well. But Tsuyoki also very clearly wants what's best for Nobunaga, meaning that he isn't afraid to butt heads with him sometimes. And Christopher is great at getting across both some really good dry retorts when it comes to some of Nobunaga's antics. As well as, it's just some straight up anger whenever Tsuyoki feels like Nobunaga isn't thinking things through always. I think this definitely comes off the clearest in episode 3 when the two of them kind of get into a heated argument because Nobunaga doesn't want to admit to himself that any of his retainers could be capable of treason. And I just like how Tsuyoki just kind of chastises him for being a little bit too naive. And I liked how blunt Chris's delivery was in that moment. I could get to tell that even though he was being harsh, it was also coming from a place of genuine concern. And, I'll admit that I'd like the 3 main characters. Tsuyoki kind of interests me the least, but... And another kind of help that my brain keeps confusing him with Akechi Mitsuhide because that's the only one of Nobunaga's other retainers from history who I know. And if you don't know who Akechi Mitsuhide is, he's the one who eventually betrays Nobunaga at some point in the future. Anyway, that bit of rambling aside, I think Christopher Wakehead did a really good job here, since my one nitpick with him is Kid Tsuyoki. And I think he did a very solid job here. Okay, and as for J. Michael Tatum, he has a pretty good reputation doing villain roles, even if he doesn't do them that often. But it's been a little while since he's played what I really want to punch into the sun. Okay, well, maybe I could...
We all want to put them in the sun, it's great.
Yeah, maybe I can look it, but I'm really, really far behind in the Fairy Tail Nub right now, so I don't know how he's doing that. Anyway, it doesn't help that Suzuki is kind of the villain that gets under my skin the most. The manipulator who turns people against each other. Seeing that sort of thing play out always gets to me. And seeing Tatum sow the seeds of discords behind the scenes as he turns Nobukatsu against Nobunaga was pretty intense. It's essentially how he maintains a bit of politeness around his lord while also being pretty condescending towards him behind his back. And J. Michael Tatum pulls off those moments really flawlessly. At the same time, though, while he is crude and manipulative, he is still dedicated towards Nobukatsu in the sense that he does want to see him seize power. And he's fine with suggesting whatever cruel or underhanded methods will help him get there the fastest. Since in his mind, there isn't a need for a ruler to worry about honor and justice and all those things when it comes to getting what they want. And J. Michael Tatum gets Suzuki's pragmatic nature across really well as he does the manipulation. And while it makes this guy feel like a total slimeball, he's also one that I can at least understand maybe slightly. I feel like only Megan would get this because I think you've said you've read some of the novels, but Suzuki actually reminds me a little bit of Von Oberside for One of the Galactic Heroes.
I haven't read the novels yet. I've been meaning to. Who does he remind you of?
Von Oberside.
Isn't that the character Tatum plays in Legend of the Galactic Heroes?
Yeah, but he hasn't gotten to do.
That's hysterical. I love how you're comparing him to another character that he plays.
Yeah, pretty much.
Nice.
Okay, so basically Von Oberside is like another character who's an advisor that's very kind of clearly in this for their own gain, and it is more than willing to suggest the things that no one else wants to because they want to maintain appearances. But even so, he's still just loyal enough to the cause that you can't ever really doubt his intentions, and you also can't really deny that he brings results and occasionally has a point. And of course, as we established, J. Michael Tatum does play Oberside. It does make me pretty excited to see what he'll do with the character if Funimation ever gets to that sequel season, because he does some pretty messed up stuff there in the second novel.
Yeah, I'm very convinced that he is Paul Von Oberside, so.
Yeah. But as far as Suzuki goes, he's doing a really great job with him, and even if he hasn't been around long, it's already one of my favorite performances in this dub, so good job.
Yay.
Hold on, I'm looking this up just to make sure that it is him.
Oh, okay, yeah, it is him. I literally just said it's him. I do remember that.
Yeah, I was like, I very, very much remember that's the Junichi Suwabe character in the Japanese, too. So, I think in this show, Suzuki is Satoshi Hino, so. No, so let's get Tsunoki out of the way. I really like Wake Up as Tsunoki. I do think younger Tsunoki is a little bit pushing it sometimes, but, ostensibly, the only scene that I felt like he was pushing it in was when, Nobunaga has to take on one of the 30 to 50 feral hogs, that has approached their castle within 3 to 5 minutes. And he has this great line to Nobunaga, which is, "You can't be a coward, you gotta stand up to it, but it's a wild hog! I'm gonna take it out!" And he's got, like, a fucking stick. Clearly, Tsunoshi was raised by Florida Man. Tsunoki was raised by Florida Man. But I think Wake Up has this way of I think you can hear him age up the character with his performance. He does sound, as he's getting older, through it. I think some of the fun moments of the show are when Tsunoki and Nobunaga get to bicker like an old married couple. Also, be just saying, Kicho, Tsunoki, and Nobunaga OT3. Let it happen. But it's really, this is like very much, to me, this sounds like Hizamaru with less of a crybaby streak to me. This is very much that range to me. I think that he does a good job getting the bluntness, especially of Tsunoki, across, as well as a gentleness, because remember, Tsunoki is the person who really gets Hidetaka to open up. They had a genuine, like, kind of brother bond between them because they both enjoyed insects, and I think it hit him pretty hard, and he's also kind of the big brother, I think, to Toshi's kind of dumbass self. He is the straight man to Toshi's dumb shit. But man, I want to talk about Tatum as Suzuki, who Steph and I were trailing behind the boys when we watched, and they were both to us, "Yeah, you're gonna hate Tatum's character." Not the performance, the character, because we are...
Yep,
yeah.
the character
J-Michael Tatum is far from that.
J-Michael Tatum is a wonderful human being. This character's a piece of garbage.
And this is, like Steph said, I think it is one of the highest compliments you can give, is absolutely hating a character because the acting is so good. Tatum's acting in combination with how just the character is written is just fantastic. He plays the silver-tongued seducer. Because, like I said, at least the way I read the show, Suzuki is gay for Nobukatsu. And there is this somewhat jealousy of him, and I think to me the really big establishing kind of moment of where you can see the silver and the snake in Suzuki is Nobukatsu has just sent the letter about about Nobunaga's birthday, and they're standing out in the night, and he's got the ball, and he grabs him by the wrist and says, "Isn't it time for you to wake from these fleeting dreams?" And he kind of seizes him and pulls him close to him, which I think the episode cut right before they would have on-screen kissed. But I don't think that this is... I also don't think that this is the case of a character being a vindictive, manipulative seducer because the character is a homosexual. I think this is not this. This is a character who wants to see his lord take power, but he's going to do it through any means necessary, where the other retainers are about keeping niceties and keeping the peace and doing this like a peaceful uprising. This is a man who is like, okay, no, that shit doesn't fucking fly in war. You're gonna kill, you're gonna maim, and I'm going to create a demon. I'm gonna back a demon lord, and this is how we're gonna do it. And he is made to eat crow in the battle between Nobukatsu and Nobunaga, where Nobunaga wins. And just the whole way that he is treating Nobukatsu, where I think he cares about him, but he also wants to use him to get something out of him. which I think I'll talk about when I talk about one of my favorite parts of Nobukatsu's performance. When we shift over there, otherwise, like, holy shit, a couple of us are gonna get to see Tatum in person. And I'm just gonna be like, dude, you do a lot of really good work, but holy shit, like, I don't think I've been this mad at a Tatum character since Shiro from Assassination Classroom. Like, I don't think I've been, like, this into a performance with him as a villain since that. And I think him as Shiro from Assassination Classroom is an absolute vile scumbag piece of shit. So yeah. Good job, Tatum. Like, I actually kind of have it up there as, like, one of my more favorite performances of this year, too, so.
Nice.
So, are we ready to move on to our final group?
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's talk about the brothers Oda. We have Oda Nobukatsu, who is Nobunaga's younger brother, who at one point in his life, I believe he is the younger brother that accidentally gets him ratted out to the mom.
Yes, he is.
Who then suddenly hits a growth spurt and becomes who inherits that castle from his father, but not the clan leadership. He was a soft-spoken sweet boy who becomes manipulated, and at the death of his brother Hidetaka starts to become a vile monster bent on revenge, who ends up uprising against Nobunaga only to be defeated. But instead of having Nobunaga having him both executed or committing seppuku, he is made to live. Oda Nobunaga is our titular character, famous Sengoku-era warlord, who, in this show, is a bit of a scatterbrained, kind of thought down upon, but his men love him, and he might be more than he seems. So, playing Oda Nobukatsu is Stephen Fu, and playing Obu Nobunaga is Damon Mills. Stephen Fu, you'll know his characters such as Genji in Kakaryo Bed and Breakfast for Spirits, Auntie in SSSS Gridman, and Goto Toshiro in Tokenranbu Hanamaru. Damon Mills, you'll know his characters such as Chikakudo in Kono Ototomare, Klaus Kieman in Space Battleship Yamato 2202, and Honobami Toshiro in Tokenranbu Hanamaru.
Alright, yeah, time for me to start, huh? Okay. So first and foremost, I am not used to hearing this range out of Stephen Fu. Like, particularly when we deal with older Nobukatsu, I'm actually not used to hearing Stephen Fu play an adult. Like, an actual... Like, I'm assuming by the story arc where Nobukatsu and Nobunaga are feuding, they're in like their 20s, right?
Probably.
Yeah, because I'm used to hearing Stephen Fu as like Auntie, or yeah, pretty much Auntie, because sadly I don't have a lot of time to watch a lot of anime anymore, so yeah, that's where I'd primarily know him. But I really like that he's sort of the doting brother for the first, like, 6 episodes, and then he's played like a fiddle. And, yeah, and then you get to sort of see the angry side of him, and as I've said in the Gridman episode, I really like it when Stephen Fu gets to sort of be that sort of angry, growly character, and yeah. So, Damon Mills as Nobunaga. I really like the fact that Damon Mills was more or less able to play the character through the various stages of his life as presented, from the teenager who's collecting trinkets just because he can, and working with, like, commoner kids to steal treasures from merchant vessels, to like, actually having to grow up and become a warlord, trying to unify a chunk of Japan to claim for his family, and not only that, try to fend off advances from other members of his family to take over because apparently they think he's doing a bad job, which he's not. He's just being very eccentric about how he does it. Which brings me to another part of the performance of Damon Mills as Nobunaga that I really like, his eccentricity. He's a tinkerer, he is curious about the world and how it functions. Like, just watch him in the first couple of episodes trying to get a musket to work, and you'll see what I mean. He's very hands-on with how he likes to learn as well, so... And his interactions with many of the other characters of the show are an absolute treat. In particular, Toshie and Kicho. Because he... Like, I really love the initial story arc with him and Kicho, where he is just absolutely terrified of her until he's basically... He basically offers her his own head. And later they actually fall in love, so that doesn't end up being necessary, but, you know, as you do. I'm getting rambly again, aren't I?
Oh, it's okay. Go ahead.
No, you're good.
That's cool.
Overall, I really like both of the performances. Please hire Stephen Fu to do more adult characters, because I actually really liked his more mature voice. But overall, thumbs up all around.
Okay, the fun part. The moment we've all been waiting for. Damon and Steven. It's an interesting combination here. I'm gonna start with Steven, I think. Steven as Nobukatsu, especially starting out, is a very kind and gentle soul. He's also very doting too, to an extent, because he has strong familial bonds with his family, especially his brother Nobunaga, and it's just shown very, very well. But just as strong as a connection that he has, that's shown very, very well, it's just as easily broken, and that huge shift in character where he becomes all vengeful, that's a clear transition if I had never seen one before, between like, oh, I need to help my brother, he's my brother, I love my brother, to Nobunaga, you bastard, I gotta kill him now. Like, he turns into the literal devil, and to an extent. And just, it's essentially, Nobukatsu's character is playing out like a tragedy, where he's essentially, right now, where we are in episode 8, it's this fall from grace. Like, he's being manipulated by Suzuki, very, very strongly now, because Suzuki has essentially, like, manipulated his feelings and intentions in multiple ways, and even killing and getting his younger brother Hidetaka killed in the process, in order for that switch to be flipped. So he's very easy. So Nobukatsu is very easy to manipulate, and it's just very, very kind of heartbreaking in its own way to see Steven as Nobukatsu just start like falling from grace and just this decline, because at this point he's using any means necessary. He, like, screw reputation now. Like, it's all about taking down my older brother for the sake of everybody else. You know what I mean? So, seeing that shift in character, while it's very, very abrupt, given what we have and what we know about the character, it actually does, I think, work very well. And it's just kind of sad to watch him just be all mad now, because he was so adorable. He was just a kind, gentle soul, and I loved it so much. Damon as Nobunaga. Damon Mills, welcome to the long lines of actors voicing Nobunaga. Again, you joined the ranks of, what was it? Kent Williams, Jade Saxton. Who was the other one again?
Robert McCollum.
Thank you, Robert McCollum. Just, oh, lordy.
I want to say it was Jay Hickman in Nobunaga the Fool. Let me look that up.
Wait, I'm trying to remember who was Nobunaga in Sengoku Basara.
You talk, I'll find it.
Shit.
No, I don't think it was Salmon because Salmon was in season 2.
Shut up and
No,
keep
it
talking.
wasn't
I'll
Salmon.
find it.
Wait, was it John Swayze? I think it
We're
was
gonna
John
figure
Swayze.
it out.
Anyway, so Damon is very interesting because speaking of actors having good years in terms of voice work, aside from Derek Snow, hello, Damon Mills. Megan mentioned this before, and now we can actually say it. This is like the 4th major or lead role that he's had this year.
It was John Swayze.
It was Scott
It was John
Gibbs
Swayze.
as...
Scott Gibbs! Oh, Nobunaga the Fool.
You
okay.
can just-
Yeah,
Welcome to this long line of voice actors
Nobunaga.
voicing Oda Nobunaga. But, for Damon, this is a good year for him because this is like the 4th major lead character that he's voiced this year. So speaking of people having good years, and I think it's well deserved. Like, Damon is fantastic. I know when we were first introduced to him back when when Yuri on Ice was coming out.
Looks like Yuri. Looks like Victor voices Yakov.
Yeah, I know. Like, we have the voice acting black magic for a reason, and basically he solidified it in a new way. Like, it was the craziest thing in the world. But, like, it's also very good and interesting to see how he's grown and developed as a voice actor to the point where a lot of we still know him occasionally for some of those chameleon-like black magic moments, we more often now get to hear him in his natural range, and I really appreciate that because it shows, like, you can do a bunch of different voices, you really can, and that's a talent right there, but, like, also being able to portray characters in your natural tone and just essentially show off your own acting chops in a different way with your natural tone of voice, and you don't have to use, like, different voices. That's also very impressive as well. So it's 2 different sides here. And I think Damon portrays Nobunaga very well. He's very goofy. He's a goober in the beginning. I fucking love it. Like, shit. I'm gonna stop yawning. We're in the home stretch. Stop it. Oh, my nose. Like, when the first episode came on and we saw the younger version of Nobunaga, he was so fucking adorable, and he's so rambunctious, and he's curious, and he has a sense of naivete to him as well, that just kind of carries on through the show and as Nobunaga grows up. And then later on, we also have him being not this truly, like, whacked out leader, but he has some crazy mindsets on occasion. Like, he has a goddamn ostrich at one point. He wants to get, like, 500 goddamn muskets for this huge plan in terms of, like, shifting things out, because reload at that time was just, like, so slow that you wouldn't have a lot of time to reload one single gun before your ass gets hit by an arrow or something. He has these these crazy ploys that a lot of people think won't work, but he's actually very smart. He's a very intelligent person. Oda Nobunaga, considering this is the show of Oda Nobunaga that is about Oda Nobunaga, while it's not maybe historically accurate for all intents and purposes, to an extent, for all intents and purposes, it's giving us a rather complex Oda Nobunaga, more so than we probably deserve. So having those little quirks and bits of his personality to show that complexity, Damon does that very, very well. So for sure, kudos to Damon on Oda Nobunaga. Definitely a fun performance. One of my favorites of the show. And kudos to Stephen Fu as Nobukatsu. You poor child. You poor, sweet, innocent child. Come back to us, Nobukatsu.
Oh, Nobukatsu is totally
light.
gonna fucking die. I'm calling it. I'm gonna be so mad, but he's gonna die.
Done. He's gonna die. Like,
See, I would try to recall what his story is from other Nobunaga things, but I think they ever really touched on him that much, so I have no idea.
Yeah, Nobukatsu one of the characters, like, whenever Oda Nobunaga comes up, you don't really have him as a character, I don't think.
Like, he showed up in other Nobunaga things, but he just wasn't, like, very important, so...
Right,
So I guess it just really is, like, very early in Nobunaga's history.
Pretty much this is the first time Nobukatsu is suddenly an important figure. Essentially. But, yeah, like, both these performances are a lot of fun. And I honestly really like the casting, so kudos to Jerry on the casting on this one, because it's very interesting to see as well. I'm done.
Okay, so I'll start with Nobukatsu first, of course. I'm still not as familiar with Steph and Fu as I'd like to be, since NT from SSS Gridman is still the thing I kind of generally associate him with. But I really liked him here, and I found Nobukatsu as a character to be pretty fascinating. In the earliest parts of the show, we mostly just kind of see him as Nobunaga's soft-spoken younger brother, and while he didn't really leave like a very big impression on me in his first few episodes, I still thought his performance was pretty smooth. And given his heritage, I liked that he had a very regal tone to his voice, much more so than Nobunaga does. And it kind of helps you draw out the difference in their temperaments. Nobukatsu is definitely a lot more reserved and measured than his older brother. And it makes a lot of their earlier interactions more interesting to watch as you kind of see them bounce off each other. But of course, what makes both Nobukatsu and Steph's performance as a very interesting is the arc he goes through over the course of the show. As while he was originally very close to his brother, time and politics kind of forces you to have to distance each other. And even though neither one really kind of wants to, and Stefan in particular does a really great job getting across how much Nobukatsu wanted to see his older brother again and how much it's kind of hurt to be separated from him. And the pain in his voice during one of those scenes really got to me. And this of course makes things all the more tragic when Nobukatsu is manipulated into turning on Nobunaga. And Steph and Fu is even more impressive, getting across both the pain of Nobunaga's supposed betrayal and Nobukatsu's descent into ruthlessness. And when Nobukatsu decides to pretty much embrace his dark side, so to speak, there's a very notable shift in Stephan's voice, and it sounds a lot more cold and harsh, but without ever descending into like full-on cartoonability, which kind of helps the performance a lot. And because even though what Nobukatsu does is arguably pretty messed up, you can still pretty much understand what drove him to it, and watching the arc play out has been some of the most compelling stuff in the show so far. And I'm definitely really eager to see what happens now that he's been spared. And for now, I'm definitely going to say Steph has been doing a really great job here. And I go so far as to say that he was probably the strongest performance in the dub for me, so good job. And now for David Mills' Nobunaga, good old Nobunaga, the man, the myth, the legend. As we've already said, their stories about him aren't a particularly new thing for anime, but learning about his apparent actual history certainly is. Which means that this version needed to be less of a mythical figure and more of an actual person, and I think David Mills' take on him achieves that pretty well. While Nobunaga has mostly been immortalized in history as a ruthless warlord, at least from what I know of other interpretations of him, he's also supposed to be like a little bit of an eccentric, and Damon plays up that eccentricity quite well. He makes Nobunaga seem, often impulsive and kind of a little bit foolish. I was a little weird seeing all that get highlighted, knowing who the man eventually becomes. It definitely makes him a little easier to get behind as a protagonist, so I kind of understand why they would play that up for this show. And speaking of the man he becomes, while Damon does mostly portray the character as an eccentric, he does occasionally get to drop a couple of octaves whenever Nobunaga needs to be serious. I wouldn't exactly say he's showing in those moments. He does sound intimidating enough to make the contrast pretty easy to notice, and I definitely like that. All that said, what makes his Nobunaga interesting, and the story of the show by extension, is kind of how he has to balance his role as a clan leader against his own feelings towards his family members or his retainers, and how much the betrayals he faces kind of weigh at him. David gets those doubts across really well, especially in episodes 7 and 8, where he kind of has to weigh protecting the people of his domain over, taking vengeance for his family and eventually fighting his own family. And it's a lot to deal with, and David's delivery in those moments definitely did a lot to help hook me on the show. If I had one complaint about David's performance though, it's that perhaps that given that he is especially supposed to become the Oda Nobunaga legend, it's that he doesn't sound all that regal. I mean, I do get that he isn't supposed to immediately get off the aura of a dignified leader, that it's kind of the point. But since he is the head of his clan, and he was supposed to be raised in both politics and warfare, it is a little weird that he just kind of sounds so normal, especially knowing how versatile Damon's range is. But still, it's more like a nitpick than like a serious complaint. And Dave's performance is definitely pretty great in spite of that issue. And he definitely plays a very compelling lead, so it's definitely not hard to get behind him. And long story short, I'm definitely enjoying him, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he brings to the table in the remaining episodes. Well, all 4 of them. I think it's 4.
Yeah, I think it's the 12er.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I guess I'll start with Nobunaga, actually, just because I want to kind of contrast some points to you. But before I start this, I'd like to point out, by the way, a actual hilarious story that happened because of the show on Twitter.
Oh boy.
Was that when Dawn announced that she was Kicho, she just tagged a thing that said, "I'm married to Damon Mills, y'all!"
Oh, God!
And people thought it was real.
Oh, of course they did.
And I ran into them at Anime Fest, and I talked to them about this. And I would like to point out, by the way, that Damon is very tall.
David is very, very tall.
Very tall. Dawn is like my height, maybe. But no. Yeah, so I talked to them about this. I'm like, yeah, no, I thought that was really funny that everybody thought you were married. And Damon and Dawn are kind of laughing, and Dawn goes, yeah, he's gay, guys. So no, Damon Mills is not married to Dawn Bennett. He's kind of gay. So, by kind of, I mean very. But I want to contrast the last point that you were making about how Nobunaga sounds so normal. I think that Nobunaga is going to get that intimidation after Nobukatsu bites it. When Nobukatsu dies, and he actually has to become the vicious Oda Nobunaga, I think that's when it's going to kick in. This is a prediction. I don't know. I don't know where the show's going. I'm not watching ahead. This is just my prediction, knowing my prediction as like somebody who's watched a lot of anime. Damon is great as Nobunaga. He immediately endeared himself to me in this performance. He's actually the main reason that I wanted to do this episode, was that I had watched episode 1 and I was so enamored with how eccentric and dorky and fun he was making this character, and seeing him do these slight changes in his voice as Nobunaga gets older. I will say I think, Jet, that a scene that I don't think he brought up, or where I think he does kind of have that intimidating voice, is where he has this meeting with Brian Mathis, who's playing Saito Sozan. We're not talking about everybody. This is, again, a huge ensemble. Where he looks like a traditional lord, and there is this mix of him having to be the young leader of a clan, balanced with, oh my god, I cannot believe that he's making me dress up like this. Yeah. And he's like, this stupid hairstyle pulls my face back too much. But I really think that the thing that Damon works at the best to me in this performance is when he is the conflicted Nobunaga. He's as much fun as he is being the big dumb dork Nobunaga who walks around with his titties out. Tits out for Nobunaga. You're welcome, Hardy.
Oh, Jesus.
That was a fun conversation at Anime Fest where me, Roots, and him were eating lunch together after he picked us up from the airport. And we were talking about stupid, sexy Nobunaga, and I was just like, tits out for Nobunaga in the restaurant.
And Hardy lost his garbage, right?
Oh, Hardy died. Hardy was as red as a fire truck. But it's when he has to have these moments of internal conflict that he shines really well. And I think he also shines really well when he's getting romantic with Kicho. There's a part where Kicho's like talking about how she wants to be strong, and he just grabs her and in the most suave ass fucking voice goes, "Isn't it just enough for us to share this moment and to be intimate like this?" And I'm just there on the couch like, yes. Yes, please hold me, Nobunaga-sama. Oh, Nobunaga Domo. Honey, take notes. I love you. I'm kidding. But there's also when he's got this moment where he's got the letter from Nobukatsu, where he's like, Nobukatsu's like, we're going to kill our uncle for killing our brother. And he thinks just back to his dad, it's like, you can't just start a war for petty vengeance. And you can hear the little twinge in his voice where this is killing him inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
he clearly
speaking
wants
of things,
do it, but
to do it, he can't, because he knows it's not the right thing to do. Speaking of dying on the inside, let's talk about Nobutaka.
Oh god, Nobukatsu. Oh,
Nobukatsu. Stephen Fu is so good in this show. He is the standout of this dub to me. It's him and Tatum. They have this chemistry between them as manipulator and manipulatee that is very, very rarely done well. I think my favorite thing about Nobukatsu is that, like Jet said, he is descending into his own wallowing madness without being a cartoon villain. It is kind of like the reverse version of Auntie from Good Man, who is a psycho little villain who becomes a good person. And if you didn't think last year between both Ginji and especially Auntie and Gridman that Stephen Fu could step it up in a drama where it's needed, this is another prime example, because this is, to me, the moment that I think really solidified Stephen Fu for me as this character that this is killing him, is when they're sitting up kind of on this hill and they're looking out, and it's a beautiful vista. And the colors are really nice and stuff. And Suzuki is brushing his hair, and Nobukatsu goes, is it okay that it's like, when something happens, has your world gone black and gray? Because the second that Nobunaga didn't show up at that fort, his vision became black and gray. He is killing himself over this. He is becoming a demon and a monster, and he knows it, and he can't stop it because his brother betrayed him. The person that, like literally, remember, one of his fondest memory is of his birthday when, as a child, Nobunaga gives him the ball and says to him, the happiest day of my life is when you started crying as a baby, because that's the day I became your brother. And Steven has to play this character who, his brother means the world to him. He has not been able to see him. He has had to stay away from him. And remember, Suzuki lies to his mother.
Yep.
About him dismounting the horse and almost dying. Like, it's really weird I forget where this line is from. It's, when he died, I died as I lived. And I forget what that was from. It's from another anime, and I know it's from an anime I talked about because it was, like, one of my favorite lines, and I've used that in other things, like, for writing and stuff. The Nobukatsu that Nobunaga knows died with Hinataka. He died the same day. And Steven having to play this character who is essentially died and become reborn in the worst way possible is really, really good. And if you're not watching the show, you don't get to hear a performance like that very often. And especially by an actor who, like, we were bringing this up with how Derek Snow being announced as Shinra, everyone's like, who's this new fucking voice actor? It's, if you're not watching shows like Kochoki, if you're not watching your Kakaryos, your Tokenrambus, you're missing where actors like Derek and like Steven, or even at point like Damon, like Chris, because Chris Wakamp took a really long time to get where he's at, or like Anastasia Munoz, where these actors have done these dubs that they have these really great performances in them. But because they're not like your Dragon Ball Z's, or your Dr. Stones, or your My Heroes, or your Fire Forces, where they're gonna prop these shows up to you, like, this is the hot thing, everybody's watching it. And shows like, I guess I'm kind of getting in a little bit of my own final thoughts, but shows like Kochoki and their dubs will fly under the radar, you're going to miss a lot of these actors really digging their teeth into these performances. And so when they have these moments, like, I'm using Derek Snow as the example because Derek Snow is kind of a really good poster child for the season. When Derek Snow gets to do something like Shinra, or like when Justin Briner got announced as Deku, for a lot of people, though, like, to reference a movie, they were the guy at the beginning of the Guardians of the Galaxy where it's like, I'm Star-Lord. Who?
Yep.
Yeah. Where everybody else is like that, people who like us, or like your cartoon ciphers, or like some of our fans, where everyone's like, who? We're like for us, I remember that Justin Briner's a really good example of this, where everyone's like, I don't know about this Justin Briner kid. We're all like, oh yeah, he's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's had like 3 other leads. Calm your tits, kids. It's like that old clip of Amon about Attack on Titan. It's fine. They know what they're doing.
Yep. It's fine, guys.
Fine, guys. But just Stephen Fu in this, I think he has become an actor that I know I've recently definitely have been starting to put him on a lot more of my prediction lists a lot more often. I know Kyle Ignatius is also up there for me now.
Yep.
Derek's up there. But anyway, seriously, Stephen Fu's Obo Nobukatsu is like super fucking good, guys. Like, it is fantastic. It is also one of my favorite performances, I think, of this, not only of the show, but of this season. So, with that being said, final thoughts, because this has gone on a lot longer than I thought, but there's like a good half-hour break in the middle of this. Roots, go ahead.
I honestly think you just nailed a lot of what I was about to say really well. Just now.
I'm so sorry.
Don't be.
It's alright.
I'm sorry.
This is a very interesting show, not just in the subject matter of like no gimmicks, no frills, just a historical fiction about Nobunaga. Like, no bells, no whistles, it's just about the man. And some of the historical things he did and how he probably handled them. There are a lot of great dub performances, a lot of, and I mean, there's even some actors in here who really haven't done a lot in the way of simuldubs or even broadcast dubs. I looked on ANN and I saw Duncan Brannon in the cast list.
Yup.
I thought Duncan Brennan has done one before.
Just Seraph of the End, as far as I could tell, and a couple of...
No, Honda-kun, I think.
I was about to say, and a couple of reprisals from stuff he's already done. Because I think it was also in Barakamon.
Yeah, he did Barakamon, but the simuldub in question would be Honda-kun.
Right.
And then he had a small role in, he's, Snow White with the red hair.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna give you a Lord, but then I got high.
There it is.
He's also been in, like, Rolling Girls, Seraph.
Right.
Yeah.
But usually it's just, like, smaller stuff.
Yeah, usually it's, like, really small things, and it was really good to see his name in there again, because, like, I remember him from the days of, like, Dragon Ball Z as Babidi. But,
Oh, yeah, that's right, he's Nobuhiro, he's the older brother.
Yep. He's the older brother, yep.
But, and as Megan was saying, like, if you're looking at cast lists as they're getting announced and seeing, like, names that are unfamiliar to you, but these people have done, like, major roles in some of the smaller Funimation dubs, by all means, check those out, because sometimes those are buried gems. Like, I have gone on diatribes about how Aka was one of the best dubs of 2017, and it kind of seems like people slept on it. And, you know, stuff like Ping Pong back before the days of the broadcast dub, and, you know, just these projects that seem like passion projects of the director and the cast and the crew involved. Like, step out of your comfort zone and check out some of these every once in a while, because, you know, like, number one, you're probably going to find something you're going to like, and number two, you never know if one of these names that is completely unfamiliar to you is going to turn around and be in the next grandiose Shonen Jump adaptation. So, and I'm really glad a show like Dub Talk exists, where we decide as things are getting announced that, you know, we're going to cover some of these smaller scale shows. Because I really feel like, you know, we're kind of a small podcast right now, but we are also bringing attention to the more obscure shows of Funimation's, like, 15, 20 shows that they get every season. So, yeah. Do check out Kochoki. I really enjoyed it. Great dub. Really good.
Oh boy. So yeah, both of you are basically like taking words out of my mouth. That's fine. So while this is the season where we have a few large shows like Fire Force and Dr. Stone, and Fruits Basket's still going strong at this point too, it's always interesting when we get the chance to talk about such underrated underdog kind of shows like Kochoki, because like Roots was saying, like, some people this would fly completely under most people's radar. Megan had to try and find a summary for this show.
Yeah, I legitimately could not. I googled Kochoki. There's not even a Wikipedia on it, guys.
That's how basically non-existent the show is on people's radar, and it's kind of a shame, because while it's not the greatest show in the world, it's a hell of a lot of fun. There's a lot of heart and drama and comedy to it, and it's again, it's an Oda Nobunaga show about Oda Nobunaga. It's one of the rare instances where I can say that statement and it's actually surreal saying that. But in terms of the dub itself, I think it's a very solid, kind of, it's in the middle ground. It's not outright strong and the greatest thing in the world, but it's not a heaping pile of crap either. It's not a mess. It's still very solid, and by Funimation standards, solid still means very, very good, in my mind anyway. But it's fun. It's great casting choices. It's fun performances. The directing and writing, I think, is very solid. All around, it's such a great dub, and it's very, very much being slept on. So since Megan and Ruth basically covered like probably 80% of my final thoughts on this, I'm just gonna say this: if you haven't seen Kochoki yet, you really should. I'm just gonna say that. Thank you, Megan, for forcing me to watch this.
You're fucking welcome. Yeah, I'm done.
Okay. So even though my knowledge of Sengoku era history is kind of scattered, I've seen Oda Nobunaga's name slapped across so many shows over the years and seen his tales told in so many different ways that I was honestly pretty convinced I was done with Oda Nobunaga's stories altogether. But this show made me a believer again, or at least, it's maybe a believer to begin with, because it's something that's actually mostly dedicated to the actual history and legacy of Oda Nobunaga. Well, in his youth, apparently. I mean, we'll see how that goes. Seeing all the various political conflicts and all the family power struggles he had to deal with on his rise to power has been way more interesting than a lot of the wacky fictional stuff that's been done with him. And the presentation here has been so effective that it's not something that pretty much no other Nobunaga show has actually done for me. It's made me want to actually learn more about Sengoku era history, so good job, guys. And that right there really speaks to how good this show has been in its execution. And while the dub isn't like super amazing, it's still very solid, and there's some really solid performances in the mix from folks like Mark Sauter, Don Bennett, and Stephen Fu. And again, it's a shame this show is fallen under the radar so quickly, because Again, it's a pretty solid show, and if you have the slightest bit of bit of interest in the actual history of Oda Nobunaga, as opposed to, him being used for some weird anime gimmick, I think this show might be right up your alley. It's a pretty good time.
So like I said, I really, really, really enjoyed this dub. I really enjoyed this dub from episode 1. This was a dub that instantly drew me to a show that I wasn't going to check out, because I was like, oh great, oh, there's the cat.
Hi, Shinya!
She's been asleep for like the last parts of recording, and then I just suddenly see her pawing at the door to be let out. You're not getting let out until mommy's done.
Sorry, Shinya.
Not today, sweetie. Mommy's not done with her podcast. No, the thing that I really enjoyed, like I said, I was really enjoyed this by episode 1. I originally wasn't going to check out the show, and then I just decided to on a whim when, like, a bunch of episode 1s came out, and immediately was like, yeah, we're doing this as a fucking episode. Damon's performance really drew me in, but this is a cast that is, even for all the people that we didn't talk about, let me get a couple of names here. Give me back my last tab.
You mentioned a couple before. You had Paul Slavens as Nobuhide,
and Paul Slavens as Nobuhide, Duncan Brennan as Nobutaka. Just to not even name other characters. This is a dub that has in some of its ensemble characters Dallas Reed, Bruce DeBois, Chris Burnett, Alejandro Saab, Adam Gibbs, Aaron Roberts, Brandon Potter, Brian Mathis, Ivan Jasso, Jacob Browning, Michaela Krantz, Rachel Glass, Randy Perlman, Sean Gann, Justin Briner. Like, there's a lot of people. Justin Briner playing, like, the absolute, like, cowardice shit stain is the funniest thing in the world to me in this show. Also when they get the ostrich. Because that's the thing that happens at one point. There's an ostrich. This is an ensemble cast that's really solid, and I think I said, like, what I really appreciate is the fact that this is a dub that is unfortunately flying over the radar, but has an actor who I think maybe some people know because Funimation did prop up SSS Gridman pretty highly. It was a same-day simuldub for a while when it aired. Where if you thought Stephen Fu was great and now he's not appearing in things, go watch stuff like this where he's appearing. I think this is a really solid dub. This is a very underrated show. I think this has a lot of really underrated year performances. So it's going to be interesting to see how Funimation's fall lineup plays out, as well as the other broadcasts, companies that do dubs that put out in the end of the year, to see where this would fall. I would honest to God say I would buy this. I would 100% buy this as a show to have on my shelf. I enjoyed it that much. And before we leave, I have another bit of wisdom from my good buddy Mal.
Oh boy.
Mal, stop talking to me about how our OCs broke each other's ribs. No. She also has the cutest puppy right now, whose name is Minty. It's the cutest. So there's a really famous poem in Japan, and it goes, a Zen master approached the 3 Sengoku rulers of Japan, what they would do with a cuckoo who wouldn't sing. Nobunaga said to kill it, Hideyoshi said make it sing, and Tokugawa said to wait. It goes with how to remember them. Nobunaga was the most vicious and cruel. Hideyoshi was the most cunning, and Tokugawa was the most patient. It was a poem about how they conquered the land and how they treated the people. Which is really weird because Nobunaga's such a nice guy in the show. But I would definitely recommend people check this out, especially for Stephen Fu's performance. And there's another episode where I'm going to bring up a lot of the point of, like, please watch a lot of these shows that have a lot of actors who you don't really know, because for some people it might be their first time, because there's another dub that Steph and I are going to talk about that has a lot of first timers on it, and it's actually kind of working out for the benefit of that show in a weird way.
Hooray!
But there are other times where it's shows like this that have a mix of really established veterans, and as Steph said before, you can't really call a lot of these people new anymore. They have been doing this for a while, but now they're starting to really pick up and assert their place. And definitely for somebody like Steven, I think that's there. So if you'd like to watch Kochoki, it is exclusively both sub and dub on Funimation. By the time that this is out, it's probably going to be done, but if it's not, episodes go up for the sub, I believe, Monday morning, and they go up for the dub Monday afternoon. If you'd like to support us and do anything we do, we are the Dub Talk Podcast. You can follow us at Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, Twitch, whatever. If you'd like to make a one-time donation to us, our Ko-fi is in the link below. But if you'd like to become a permanent Patreon in any way, shape, and form, like our other wonderful patrons, like Crimson Echidna, Michelle Travis, Nico Robin, But with Yowie Hands, Jacob Wilson, Carly Lesticow, Marissa Lenti, Brad Mitchell, Weeby, and Jared, you can also do that as well. Just because this recording is going on really long, I'm just going to pimp out everybody for you.
Go ahead.
You can follow Roots of Justice at Roots of Justice. He posts pug pictures and shit posts. He's going to try to get some reviews up on his own. You can follow Jet at Divinenega. He also does his own anime reviews at Animation Affinity.
Yep.
Where this season he has been reviewing Astra Lost in Space. And if you'd like to follow Stephanie, you can follow her at Lilac Anime Review on Twitter, at Lilac Anime Review. Review spell REVUE, like Review Starlight.
Yay.
Da-da-da-da-da. She also has her blog that she doesn't update as much at Life in Times Otaku at WordPress.com.
Yep.
You can follow me. I'm Megan. You can follow me at QueenEra2. I shitpost and I probably cry about Fire Emblem. With that being said, guys, it's time to get back into the time machine. I don't think we fucked up the timeline. Say goodbye to the Sengoku era. I've got the cat. We're good to go.
Yay!
Alright, I'm just gonna turn around here nonchalantly and oh shit, I stepped on a butterfly.
God damn it!
Oh!
Why is Nobunaga
God
a
damn it,
giant
now-
robot?
God damn it, Roots! Why? Why
are there why is our president a goat?
Hardy!
Hardy!
That's it. I quit. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Night and
Otaku on
And Otaku on, my friends, and whatever you do,
Oh, God, what?
nobody get the idea to make Nobunaga. Ah, god damn it! There's 5 animes about Nobunaga being a lolly next year.
God damn it.
Come on, Megan, you don't say it.
It's because you stepped on the butterfly. You know that,
Butterfly.
right?
Okay.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.